The Steve Dangle Podcast. Powered by Sports Interaction. Want to bet?
The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Hey, just a reminder that Skip the Dishes has a countrywide a code for you. It's Dangle10. So if you make an order of $20 or more, it'll give you $10 off. The first 1,500 people will get the offer. Skip wants you to enjoy the game tomorrow night. Feast for the cup, baby.
And I'm going to do it 1,500 times, so you get none.
Right now, starting now. The great thing is it's open for a couple of days. Sometimes these promo codes just pop up. Oh, thank you, Jesse. Like more music there? That's good.
Yeah.
That's the worst mix I've ever heard. Maddie, stop rocking out to that. You can't. You can't give him that.
Do we have
not encourage him?
Soca horns?
No.
Boom!
No? We don't have horns? That's not a Soca horn. So upsetting. Anyway, listen. Skip the Dishes. No restrictions on this. It's Dangle 10 and Dangle 10.
Yeah, you can order whatever you want. No adults. That's all.
No adults?
Yeah, no adults. No just grown-ups telling you what to do.
Yeah.
Don't you hate it? You can
hate it.
You can have ice cream if you want.
Happening.
You can
I
have
also
cake if you want.
I have a DM from last show that we have to get to before we get to anything that happened today. Hey Adam, this is from Hunter. Just finished listening to your last episode babbling. One part of the episode.
Oh, that was the name of the episode.
Yeah. Which is what we've done the entire time.
I forgot.
One part of the episode. Sorry, the first part of the episode really bothered me.
Good.
Goofy is not a dog, as many people believe. Goofy is actually a cow, not a dog. Hopefully this can be clarified since it was such an important part of the show.
What?
I didn't know that. Apparently Goofy is a cow, not a dog.
No, there's no way.
Is Goofy a cow?
I looked it up. Okay, so this article from Disney Insider Tips.
Oh, God.
Christy,
DisneyAdults.com.
Christy, who's a Disney adult, wrote an article on this.
Woo!
Christy writes the article. She says, "Is Goofy a dog or a cow? Here is the answer. I can't tell you how many times people have asked, is Goofy a dog or a cow? Does that happen? Do you believe that?
No, it's never happened.
That's
ever.
one of those stories where it's like, today everybody asked me about my makeup and I'm going to tell you about it.
Yeah, and my 4-year-old said slay with regard to Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
So Christy starts out with a lie. I'm not sure why this has become such a popular topic of conversation or even why people are questioning the character's species, but we can clear this up once and for all. Disney is very clear. Mickey is a mouse, Donald is a duck, and Pluto most certainly is a dog. And while Mickey and Donald have human-like qualities, Pluto does not. Perhaps that is why people think Goofy can't be a dog and that he must be a cow. I mean, would Disney create two dogs giving only one human-like quality? The second cause for believing Goofy is a cow comes from his love interest. Throughout Disney movies and cartoons featuring the lovable character, we are shown that Goofy's love interest is Clarabelle Cow. This probably leads people to once again believe Goofy is a cow. And then there's a bunch of reasons why Goofy might be a dog.
What about Donkey from Shrek? Is he a dragon?
The final word on whether Goofy is a cow or a dog. Bill Farmer has been the voice of Goofy since 1987 and currently voices Goofy in the Disney Plus reality series.
Farmer?
Yeah, Bill Farmer is a dude.
The cow controversy interviewed a farmer.
Oh, that's not all. This gets better. Keep going, Jesse.
Bill Farmer has been the voice of Goofy since 1987 and currently voices Goofy in the Disney Plus reality series It's a Dog's Life. A farmer clears the misconception up in an interview. In an interview with Yahoo Entertainment. He is not a dog. Goofy seems to be in the canine family in the same way that a wolf is not a dog, but they are also in the canine family. I think Canis Goofus is the technical Latin term for what Goofy is. He's just Goofy. So there you have it. Goofy is a species of dog, but in the same way that Mickey is a mouse. He is given human-like qualities that set him apart from Pluto, who is a traditional pet dog.
Okay. See?
So
See?
This is like how Pottermore is a good idea, and then you read all the things on it.
And then it's like, maybe not.
Yeah, no, you didn't need to do all that, JK. That's enough.
Hunter's last name, by the way, the guy who messaged us, is Cowley.
No way.
Yeah. It's Hunter Cowley. That's why I said when they interviewed the farmer, I'm like, oh, that's not all.
You know, Glenn's not my real last name.
What is it?
Hockey Yell.
Hockey Yell.
Steve Hockey Yell.
Isn't that great? Anyway,
Do you think Hunter is a cow who learned how to use an iPhone?
Oh, you know what? I could check their profile. Hang on. I don't know. Do you think he's got a cow in his bloody name, which is hilarious? He's got like a cow.
Let me
Hunter
I'll help
Cowley.
you research.
And it's all. You know what, Jesse? You might be right because Hunter only writes in all caps too.
That's how a cow would type.
Don't you think? The hoof would definitely put the all caps on.
I found his Spotify account, and he has a playlist called Music That Moves You.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Oh, boy. The summer episodes are upon us.
I have had 3 no-sells already.
Oh, man.
I thought you were going to go with Doja Cat, Bitch, I'm a Cow.
Oh, that was
Doja Cat.
That's on the playlist. Okay.
That was a sensation.
Yes, it was.
It was such
a moment in time.
It was such a great song. Hey,
Nothing more annoying than driving around and going, bitch, I'm a cow, bitch, I'm a cow.
there's a lot to get to today, including a huge "Is it Babcock" trade, which we're going to break down. Also, outside of sports, but because it's still happening in Toronto, the PGA LIV and DP Tours merged, and this is a bonkers story just in sports that I think we should talk about. And I also want to break down Lionel Messi's compensation in the MLS because it was announced today that Steve Dangle is leaving Sportsnet, but also that Lionel Messi is going to Inter Miami.
Thanks, Lionel.
Those are on the same level.
Definitely the same thing. And I think his compensation package is so bonkers that you need to hear about it. Like, I don't know if our boy Benzema, remember who sent us that TikTok? He just went to, I believe, a club in the Middle East, and his
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, his payment will be $200 million a year.
That's it?
To play, $200 million a year. But Steve, Jesse, can you flash that on the screen so that we can also...
So Adam's hiding the real big news today because Steve's real announcement was that he is indeed buying another kayak.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
but
According to a meme on the internet.
here's the real, here's the problem. The problem.
So fucking stupid. I can't even get over it.
No, it's like it's even real. It looks real. I think that's authentic. I don't even remember making that video, but I must have because it looks so real.
Shout out Twitter user Leaf since 97 who made the meme. I bought another kayak. Steve's announcement video.
Oh my God.
See, yeah, but the conundrum is I quit my job, so I can't afford it. I can't afford the second kayak, and I've fallen on hard times. I'm gonna have to sell my kayak.
Is that? I feel like that would be a lot less joyous.
Yeah. The announcement was actually I have to get rid of my kayak.
Steve. You're drifting way too far away from the bit.
Yeah, that's what the paddle's for.
Okay. Adam, what's next?
Well,
Let's talk a little hockey.
No, I've ever done.
Steve did announce today
Stop laughing. You're an enabler, Maddie.
that after 9 years, she is. She's
You're
enabling
enabling
Jesse.
this behavior.
She's encouraging Jesse. And
What did I do?
You've done 2 things today already. Your terrible mix earlier, which is bad. No, stop it. No, you can't. Oh, no music.
Skip.
My God, I hate it.
You like that?
I hate it. So Steve, after 9 years, is leaving Sportsnet. And this is a big day. And, obviously we've known about it for a little bit. But Steve, can you posted your video on the Steve Dangle YouTube page. Mm-hmm. Currently right now on my trending topics in North America, Messi is trending and Congrats Steve is also trending.
I don't think congrats Messi is trending.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just your name there, Lionel.
So, Lionel. so like
Lionel?
you go into
your
it.
name, Lionel.
You go into it in the video, but like, let's talk about it. You know, you've made this decision. It's a big decision to make because you spent so much time trying to get into Sportsnet. You even outlined that in the book about how like the first guy that interviewed you was like looking at the TV above you and not really paying attention. And when they hired you, you were behind the scenes. Like they didn't want to put you on the air or even on digital.
Thanks for reminding me of that original interview so I can be mad about it.
Yeah, well, you did mention it in the book. But
Yep.
I mean, you worked very, very hard to get in there and work your way up in there. And a lot of people don't really realize that. They just think about cup checks and, dangles or dangets and all that sort of thing. But really, you started off doing what Jesse and I remember as the NHL prep sheet, which was sent to all the market. Can you tell us what the NHL prep sheet was in 2015, I want to say?
Well, I'll go back even further. So, you know, I got the interview from someone who was like a mid-level producer when I was an intern.
Yeah.
And then fast forward 6 years, they were the vice program director or whatever the title was, Dave Cadeau. And
Shout out Dave. We love Dave.
Yeah, and he'd been sort of looking for a way to get me in the door because, you know, they can't just give you jobs. Yeah, here you go. Here's a job.
Yep.
Do something, anything. You got to be able to justify it. So he brings me in for a meeting with Don Collins, who was the program director at the time. And basically, you know, Rogers, I don't know if they didn't publicize this very much, but Rogers spent a lot of money on the NHL rights.
Yep.
Sorry if that's a little inside baseball.
No, I think everybody knows it was what $12 billion over 7 years, 8 years.
Yeah. So they wanted everyone to talk about the NHL, but not everyone can talk about the NHL because not everyone follows the NHL. So they had me do a prep sheet that had it was like 2 or 3 pages. It was interactive. You could click it. That linked to stories from just around hockey. And the example I always make is the story where Mike Green ran out of the type of stick he likes, and it got written about in a blog. So fans who had gotten signed sticks from him gave him back the sticks so that he could use them, and he actually used them in NHL games. And I think got on the score sheet with
amazing.
Yeah,
with his own autograph stick.
With his own autograph sticks.
Which I would say to the company, just make Mike Green his sticks, man.
Well, or that.
Come on.
Oh, yeah, Easton. Yeah, go up against the mighty Easton.
They don't exist.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah, so that's why he had to get the stick.
Oh, is that why? The company just shut down. Oh, that's what it was.
They stopped making hockey sticks, right? They stopped.
I don't remember why they stopped making this particular brand.
I think maybe because they
stick.
hated Mike Green.
Maybe
it was like, screw this guy. We have to stop making this stick.
Screw him.
Can't have 30 goals in a season from a defenseman. What is this?
It's trash.
It's wrong.
So I started doing that, and there was a guy named Dan Tavares, no relation to John, who I worked under at CBC. He made the switch to Sportsnet, and then because he got the prep sheet, he's like, oh, Steve's here. I didn't know we had Steve. Is Steve making videos for us? And someone said no, and he's like, well, that's dumb. Didn't you know that's what he does, basically? So he got me on the content creation side, and that was very helpful because the next year when there was no more prep sheet, they just had me making content full time. And it was, you know, it was awesome. Like there was some guidance and everything, but for the most part, they just sort of let me do whatever content sprang to mind. They put like some parameters on it.
You used to, you used to write a lot too.
Wrote a lot. That's how the trade trees started.
Mm-hmm. I remember reading them.
I think the original title was like Maple Leaf Rabbit Hole.
One of my favorite articles, I think, in those early days, because you had like a Dangle blog. First off, every time it got posted on Facebook, and we used to read these comments out and laugh about them, there'd be somebody with Oakley sunglasses from Alberta that just hated it. Hated the fact that you dared to write about, the thing that which is the Leafs. Now, they
hated me.
When
I started there.
There was one article about, have the Leafs found a gem in Andrew Nielsen?
Oh, man.
Because he was looking pretty good as a defensive prospect for the Marlies. And another one I really liked is where a young AGM named Kyle Dubas and a very fresh head coach, Sheldon Keefe, are raving about the play of Zach Hyman.
Zach Hyman and
you got
Justin
the quote.
Hall.
And Justin Hall.
Yeah, got the quote. I did I did a bunch of interviews with Leaf prospects the year they were finishing last, and it was regularly like top 5 viewed stuff on the website.
Because it's Leafs.
Yeah, but it's wild because it's like, oh, here's a feature with Tobias Lindbergh.
Who was from the Dion Phaneuf trade with Ottawa?
Yeah.
There it is. Hey, I remember.
The Dangle blog is still up.
Oh.
If you search for it on Google, you can find it on sportsnet.ca, but it is quite broken because I believe they're trying to eliminate the landing page. The last post is from 4 years ago. It's one of your hat picks. And then if you try scrolling, you'll get a couple more articles, but then it kind of breaks.
Oh, and there's my video from Sick Kids.
Yeah, your video, those are the only, there's that one, the Sick Kids, and then another Dang It's, and then it kind of breaks from there. It doesn't really look.
Ah, well.
But that's okay.
You know,
It's going to be gone. It's going to be gone forever soon.
You know, it doesn't break their YouTube channel where you can still find all my stuff. Now, there were some questions about, like, so does that mean the end of this or that or that or that? I mean, obviously, I'm not going to be able to do stuff with NHL footage in it, but, like, we have the whole summer to come up with new ideas, and maybe we do a modification of, like...
I think you should recreate all of the hat picks and Dang It's. So we get you on the ice, and each week you get out there with a goalie and you recreate the play instead of using the NHL footage.
And for the saves, I'll just tear my groin. Every week, I'll tear my groin.
Continuously.
We'll spend so much on like physiotherapy, like, but that's built into the budget, right?
Yeah.
Like how TMZ builds it into the budget that they're going to get sued.
Yeah.
I build it in that I'm going to tear my groin
Each and every week. Trying to make the saves.
Yes.
I like that.
But yeah, we'll find a way to recreate the things you love doing on this
and
network
maybe do
this
something that
channel.
you didn't even know, right? Like that you're like, oh, hey, I like that.
It'd be
even
crazy.
better.
What about new ideas?
No, let's bring back another movie from the 80s.
Well,
let's
and
redo it.
You never know what's going to stick. Like
Yep.
the reason hat picks are called hat picks is because producer Drew was like, we need a title for this. And I was like, hat picks, because I'm picking the highlight and it's like hat trick. And he's like, that's terrible. And I'm like, I know. Well, we'll use it until we think of a better one. And then people were like, that's terrible. And I enjoy it because it's terrible. Snakes on a plane. Let's go with that.
Like that.
Same thing with Dang It's.
We got an email this morning to our like general inquiries email, and somebody was really upset because they're like, I'm going to watch a Leafs game with Steve Dangle. Can you please do something with that? And I didn't reply, but I think I can say here that, yeah, there'll be new creative ways you can watch Leafs with Steve.
Mm-hmm. You'll have to call him like I did that one time where he broke his nose.
Yeah.
And then Natalie and I were sitting baked in our chairs, and Steve just did watch a game with Steve Dangle there. It was great.
and I'll ruin the outcome of the game for you.
Oh yeah, because my Sportsnet feed, of course, is 30 seconds behind, the actual feed, because that's the way it has to be done.
But not being over there is going to open you up to a whole new host of things. And I think people should be very excited for the new creative ideas and the spins on different content that you can now do that you're over here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And all my stuff's still going to be up there. But yeah, like I had to make a choice here. Like, could I have continued to make stuff for Sportsnet and done SDPN at the same time? Yes. I could have. That's not the life I want to live right now. I'm still open to, other opportunities and stuff. Adam's like, if you get offered like this or that, you should take it. I'm like, shut up.
Well, like, listen, if they say, hey, Steve, you want to come drop it and do a panel on TV? For sure, you should do it. Mm-hmm. I think the whole thing is
an
that
SDPN shirt.
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure. I think the point is, and we encourage everybody to do that. Like CJ works at TSN, like it's not.
What?
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. And he also writes for North Star. Have you heard about that?
What?
Crazy. I think the encouraging thing here is that the three of us started this company. We want to make sure that obviously in the digital realm, we're like doing the things that we should be doing. And one of the things that we got to do the other day that we had never had the chance really to do, except for Jesse being terrible at GMing, is streaming a video game. And we actually have a member of the community his name's Chris, and he worked for a couple of video game developers here in Toronto. And during the pandemic, he's like, screw it, I'm leaving Toronto. And he's been building this game for 7 years. And if you like arcade style hockey, so like NHL 94, or you like Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey, any of those types of games, Chris basically created something like that. But there's a story mode and there's a multiplayer mode, and we've got the actual video up. It's called ODR Hockey Heroes, and you can actually wish list it on Steam right now. But he's going to do a Kickstarting campaign sometime probably this summer or this fall, and we're going to be telling you about it, because actually we've played this. You can go watch us playing it. Look, there's us in a fight.
Yeah, go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/sdpn, or just type into your YouTube search bar, the SDP plays ODR Hockey Heroes, and you'll watch us play it on, we played it after the show on Monday, and it's such a phenomenal game.
It's so much fun. And over the course of the next few weeks too, for anybody that actually wants to try it out, Chris is going to start giving us streaming keys so we can message specific listeners with it and they can give it a shot and test drive it, because he's still working through some stuff on that.
Join our Discord. Chris is a member of the Discord. He's been in there for a long time. He's always in there taking feedback. We're going to have a separate channel for ODR Hockey Heroes, just for everybody to throw out ideas of things you want in this game. You're going to have the opportunity to build this game along with us. So Dangle Navy is a team in the game that you can play.
And
all of us are characters in the game.
Steve and Jesse and I are characters in the game, and we're going to add other SDPN hosts, but we also are going to need help like building names. Like, so somebody came up on our Twitch stream with the name, because he's got a bunch of names that feel like NHL names. So Raymond Pork.
Yeah.
I love that name. Like stuff like that where you're like, okay, that's kind of like NHL-ish. Feels like a legend.
I want a player named Goof Cowley.
Goof Cowley?
Yeah, Goof Cowley.
Stop it. Okay, so Jesse laughed
Ludo
at that
Dogley.
Stop. So yeah, there's a lot of exciting kind of stuff happening, and we're excited to get into it. But does it feel real yet, or are you kind of just...
No.
Yeah.
Well, and also I haven't left yet.
Yeah, you're still going to be doing videos for them until when?
The day the cup is awarded.
Wow. So the day that Matthew Tkachuk lifts the cup over his head.
And slams it down on a defenseless puppy. Yes. Because that's what he would do.
I like that.
And it will be cheered.
So 2 Vegas wins from now.
Oh,
yeah.
Hey.
Do you... Okay, watching that game, I was like, okay, yeah, Florida's going back home, and this is hockey. Mm-hmm. And anything can happen.
Series doesn't start until you lose one at home.
Well, that's not true. The series starts at game 1.
It's just
that's the
old worst sports cliches.
The dumbest thing. That's one of the dumbest sports cliches.
Series doesn't start till you lose one at home, man.
Or win one at home, you idiots. But anyway, I wanted to know, do you think that Florida has... Like, I'm looking at the way Vegas and Florida play, and you said earlier, Steve, that Vegas and Florida are the 2 teams that can get away with the most, right? They're the ones that are the best at it. But it seems like getting away with murder on ice, it's like one team gets you a little bit, one team makes sure you're dead. Like, the way that Vegas plays, they make sure you're dead.
They just play the best 2023 version of they can't call everything hockey. And you can't call everything, I guess. I mean, maybe you wouldn't have to call everything if in 2005 and 2006 you didn't make the decision to dial back your own rule changes. But like, this is what you get, right? And it's tough because you don't want to take away from Florida. You don't want to take away from what Vegas is doing. Like, it's an entertaining product, but like, it loses a little bit of integrity when just nothing matters.
Are you not enjoying this?
What? It's fun to watch, but like, nothing matters. The way hockey works, so Matthew Tkachuk goes barreling into Aiden Hill, and then Braden McNabb makes sure Matthew Tkachuk stays in the net, and then Hill obstructs him from leaving the net, and Tkachuk gives him a little stick, and Hill gives him an enormous slash right in front of the ref, and all of that was nothing. All of that was nothing. And maybe you call it a wash or whatever, but it's so ad hoc. Like, it's just so completely improvised. Like, a rule book is supposed to be a book of rules.
Sure.
You understand? Like, at the end of this, I want to be able to say the best team won or the better team won, and here's why. And
I mean, Vegas is the better team.
that's what I've come away with through the first 2 games, but there have been so many moments where I'm just like, oh, okay, it's just fucking anarchy and nothing matters. And then it causes the penalties that they do call to feel so arbitrary. Tkachuk got 2 misconducts for what? For what?
For doing what he's done all playoffs.
Exactly. For what? The moment they decide, the moment that night's officiating crew decides we're done with you because you're being a bit of a nuisance, you're gone. Like the first Tkachuk misconduct, we watch and cover hockey for a living. What do you get it for? Firing a rat? A headlock? What?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly. It's the hardest sport to watch with someone who's never watched it before and explain.
Yes.
Why was this called? Well, because blah. But why wasn't this called? Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
And you have to, yeah. Anyway, so I am enjoying it, but like, do we all see how this is a bit silly?
Yeah.
This is silly. Nothing fucking matters.
I want to throw out there that this is how I knew things were going bad for Florida. In game 1 and game 2, they outshot Vegas.
No way.
Both games, they have outshot Vegas.
Wow.
And I know that seems like an odd stat, but like when Florida and the Leafs squared off, the Leafs, I'm pretty sure outshot them every game. And if not, it was most of the time.
4 of 5, I would say at least.
Yeah, like and in the Boston series, it was a lot one side on the Boston side. Bobrovsky actually had to leave the net. Alex Lyon goes in. Do you start Alex Lyon next time? Do you start him in Florida? You go back to Bob?
No, you go with the guy who got you there. I mean, how much of that do you put on Bob? You know what I mean?
I mean, but
A little bit.
But you put all
A
of
little.
it. You put the entire run on Bob.
Yep. If
Bob got them there.
If you're congratulating him for getting him there, you got to criticize him when he gets pulled and allows a bunch of goals. And like with the shots on goal thing, it should have been even heavier in favor of Florida because they played most of the game down 4-0. And after that first period, shots were 11-10 Vegas, and then they're up 4-0, and shots are 13-7 for Florida in the second. And in the third period, Vegas outshot Florida in a game where they were up by 4 goals for most of it.
I want to go back to something that I mumbled earlier in these playoffs because it felt silly to say out loud. When the goal save above expected stats came out and Bobrovsky was like a dozen saved goals.
Setting all-time record.
Yes.
Yeah, since they tracked the stat. I remember saying, like, it doesn't feel like it. It feels like he's very good, maybe even the best goalie in these playoffs, but this is not the best goaltending performance I've ever seen. Like, it feels like Florida is generally limiting the worst of it, and he's helping them out with some big saves. But it's mostly he's just not allowing shitty ones, and it just feels like Vegas is too fast, too big, too strong for Florida to be able to play their best hockey. They at either end of the ice, they're not able to prevent the attack.
Yep.
They're not able to stave that off. They're not able to do their usual, battering forecheck that forces you into making mistakes. They look normal. They look average.
I want to ask you guys this question. If you had started this series off and you have a look at this Dangles Doozies prop at Sports Interaction, okay? Will either team win this series undefeated 4-0?
Will there be a sweep?
Before game 1, would you have taken that?
No.
Okay. Because right now it's at a 4-2-5 on the yes, and then there's like a no. There's not a no vote. It's just a yes. Would you take it now?
Still no.
Jesse, would you take it?
No, because it's hard to win 4 games in a row in any respect in the National
Well,
Hockey
I
League.
just took it. Okay. So.
Okay.
I know. Yeah, I did. Hell yeah, I did. Yeah, I think this is done.
These playoffs, I was just double checking my numbers, but the Florida Panthers have played 9 one-goal games in these playoffs.
That's
in
so
those
dumb.
one-goal games, they are 8-1.
Wow.
They have been on an absolute heater where they get extremely lucky in these instances where it could go either way.
Wasn't
and
that
eventually,
Vegas all season?
What do you mean?
Remember, you told me they're like, oh, they've been in 31 goal games or whatever, and they won them all.
Yeah, and they won them all. But I feel like for a team with Florida who didn't perform as well in the regular season, who've been on a complete great run since January, there's less room here to keep playing those types of games. Vegas played that over the course of 82 games in a season.
They were born in it.
That's the thing about their style of play. It was meant for this type of hockey. And we're seeing it come to bear in these playoffs where they're a really great playoff team. And even though they won the Western Conference in the regular season, no one looked at them as a great team in the West. And then now they get to the playoffs where it's still their same type of hockey and they're winning these games. And they've dominated Florida in the first 2. And on the Florida side, it looks like, hey, you can't keep playing all these one-goal games and eventually you're going to lose some on the other side.
Mm-hmm. Someone made a good point. I don't know if Daryl Sutter's a great coach, but he's good at predicting who's going to win and everything. And this might be the second straight year he predicted the cup winner. Do you remember his line about you don't want to finish in 8th because you're going to be playing Colorado and that's just going to be a waste of 8 days?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Remember that? And then Colorado won the cup. All season long, I want to say it was young Julian McKenzie pointed this out, that Daryl Sutter all year said Vegas is, the standard bearer. They're the team to beat. I don't know if that has anything to do with the fact that they're all, except for one, over 6 feet tall.
Yep.
But here they are 2 games away from the cup final.
Yeah.
From the final cup. They are going to win the cup.
Daryl Sutter looked at Vegas and said, there are a bunch of giant guys over there who also have speed and skill. That looks like a phenomenal team.
Like, do they have a ton of super duper star power?
Eichel and Marchessault have proven that they're in that tier. Yes, 100%. Jack Eichel he's 3rd place all time for most points in your first ever playoffs.
That's what he did. I guess he passed Ron Hainsey. Ron Hainsey. He's about to pull a Ron Hainsey, where you don't make the playoffs and then you win the cup.
I think he might have passed Ron Hainsey
You think?
in game 3.
No, he scored that goal once.
of the first round.
No.
He'll never pass Ron Hainsey's style.
No.
Leather shoes and jeans that are too long.
Oh my God, we got to get CJ to retell that Ron Hainsey story.
Right.
Yeah. It's such a good
Why'd
one.
you tell people when I drive?
But for your star power thing, we need to start giving these guys, put them into that conversation of the best players in the league because of how they showed up here in these playoffs.
I agree, but I'm definitely pulling the usual old man thing where I'm looking at their depth guys and I'm like, William Carrier, there's a haircut you could wind your watch to, and Nicolas Waugh, I remember being one of the few Golden Knights forwards who showed up in that series against the Habs.
Nicholas Roy.
Is it Nicholas Roy or Nicolas Waugh?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say for us
It's
English
Roman
people.
Roy, actually.
The most frustrating one I've heard was Nicolas Waugh. And I'm like, no, one or the other. This is very difficult for me. I'm not smart and I have a tiny brain.
Yeah.
By the way, if anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, the Ron Hainsey at the parade thing, Jesse, I'm sending it over to you now.
What is it?
It's Ron Hainsey at the Stanley Cup parade with his cool pants. There it is. Yeah, there I found it.
Ron Hainsey,
Thank you, Penguins Jesus, for this, by the way.
truly his own man. He's now the vice chair of the NHLPA or something like that.
Yeah, he's doing great. There it is. There it is. Now go over to the next photo. Go over to the next photo. The leather shoes and the... Yeah.
Did he cut the tongue off his
all right.
Yeah, that's right.
Or no, it's
Yeah.
Kaprizov who cuts the tongue out. Ron Hainsey used to have the most dangly skate tongue in the entire league. And
Yeah.
It bugged me for the entire time he was.
Not really aerodynamic for a hockey player.
No. Ovi's got that going.
He does.
Not
And the
like
yellow
that.
laces too, right? He still has the yellow laces.
Yes, he does.
You got to have the wax laces.
With the visor too. Ovi has the NHL be a player like style.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
No, he looks like that shithead player that only rags the puck and bought all the attributes with his parents' credit card.
Oh my God.
And he just,
But he plays like him too because he sits in one spot and just waits for a one-time.
Vicious, Steve.
and then you stand there, yellow skates, stand there, clap bomb, goal, emote.
Blue
Hits you,
visor.
teabag.
All right, now no, do it with only, describe that, but only with PS5 controllers, like your buttons.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna want to, right stick cocked all the way up. You're gonna want to do that, and then you're gonna fling it forward for the slap shot goal, and then during the celebration, you're gonna. Oh God!
I got your X's
Adam's
and Y's
got it
and
in
stuff.
front of me. You're gonna fling it forward, and it's got to go to
With the right
left.
joystick.
Yeah, because you're a righty, and then you're gonna skate around with the left. And you're going to skate right into your opponent and hit them over and teabag them. You're going to do...
How do you emote? How do you emote?
Here's what you do. Okay, so you go offside, you take the clap bomb anyway, and you do crouch block so that they can't fight you after the whistle. The auto fight doesn't enable. Clap bomb, crouch block. Crouch block.
I didn't know
Up, crouch block.
Is that what?
Yeah, because you give them the illusion that you're actually going to go and crouch block. That's what you do. You just press it over and over again. Let them know you're being an asshole. I'm in your fucking walls. Cope and seethe, old man. I can feel how angry you're getting through the headset. Go play with your kids.
Oh man!
Stop playing. You're not on my level. Go play with your kids.
Jesus.
Ovi on Instagram once said that his favorite visor that he ever played with was the tinted one he played in his rookie year, where he truly looked like the NHL star.
Do you know why he can't wear it anymore?
It's against the rules, right?
Do you know why it's against the rules?
Why's that?
Because goalies got mad that they couldn't.
Marty
see his
Brodeur got mad.
Oh yeah.
He said, "I can't see his eyes."
Oh wow. I didn't know that was.
Yeah,
Marty.
he told that story this year. Marty Brodeur had that kind of... Remember, Marty Brodeur changed several rules. Remember the Sean Avery completely legal stick in your face waving thing? Marty Brodeur got that changed.
Speaking of like things, what happens on the ice needing to matter, they changed the rule mid playoffs.
Which one?
The Sean Avery one, where they
I thought you
implemented
meant
a rule
these ones.
mid playoffs. Nope, can't do that in a reputable sport worth watching. That's not a thing. We played the whole season with this set of rules. And one night it was legal, the next night it's not. Mid playoffs? What kind of Mickey Mouse operation is this? I agree. Well, actually, no, I don't agree that play should be illegal. Why should it be illegal? Don't take 2 penalties, stupid. We have more guys than you. I'm going to go, and I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching. That's against the rules, by the way. But you know what is not against
Punching someone in the
rules?
face after the rule.
The myriad of things that happen in the playoffs.
Now, do you feel, just back to this, how do you feel about the Radko Gudas situation? The hit that he took.
I don't love it.
Yeah.
I don't love the hit, and it's directly to the head. Like, I'm not sure how to defend it because
It might be legal by the rules, though, which I think it probably is.
it's one of those conversation starter hits. I'm trying to remember what there was earlier in the season. I'm almost positive it involved Jacob Trouba, but there was a legal hit laid, and everyone seemed relatively united that, okay, this is within the rules and shouldn't be.
It was the Trouba one at the end of the year.
Yeah. So like I'm looking at this from Barbashev, love Barbashev, the way he plays, but like I know the play or the common phrase is what's he supposed to do here? I mean, what was Tkachuk supposed to do?
Well, we'll get to
against
Tkachuk
Jack
next.
Eichel?
We'll get to Tkachuk.
No, yeah, but I know, but I'm using it as a comparable because
I honestly don't know what he's supposed to do there. If I'm being straight with you, like, yes, it is.
Barbashev?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a hit to the head. I mean, because it hits the head. But also, Barbashev is bent over, so is Gudas.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes, man, it's just hockey, and this does happen. Like, you know, for all the shit he took for it at the time, and he deserved some of it. When they remember when that concussion lawsuit, all the depositions came out, Brian Burke's like, it's a violent game.
Yeah.
Bad stuff's gonna happen. He was right. It is. And I think this is one of those situations. And listen, the perpetrator of a lot of violent shit in these playoffs has been done by the person that took that hit. Not that makes it any better.
No.
But let's not say that I'm sure if Gudas, if the roles were reversed, Gudas would be like, there's nothing wrong with that hit.
So here's what I'd love on Agent Provocateur, because I always think of what Alan Walsh says, which is all hits to the head should be illegal. Mm-hmm. And I want to know what he thinks this should be. Mm-hmm. Is this something...
We can break that up on the next episode.
A 2-minute minor.
I think the Matthew Tkachuk one is even a better example, because that's an instance where Jack Eichel literally he's falling. He toe picks on the ice, and because he toe picks, he gets hit in the head. And if he's standing up straight, it's probably not a hit to the head. It's just a tough one to the body.
That was the thing. He didn't get hit in the head, though. His helmet flew off.
Right.
But no, he didn't get hit in the head.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. It's if you're falling and you hit me in the head, is that an illegal check? Is there room for interpretation of, hey, this was accidental?
So I brought this up in my video. Let's pretend Eichel got hit in the head.
Yeah.
And it was a principal point of contact. That's a hit where I'm like, okay, yes, Tkachuk is coming in to kill him, but also his target abruptly changes trajectory because he falls, because of an accident, right? So it's understandable, and you look at it and go, what's he supposed to do? Oh, my God.
He got hit in the head.
Yeah.
Like, I don't...
Yeah, but secondarily.
Yes.
Sure. I think... Right? No, but under the rules, accidental high sticking is a penalty. So if you accidentally hit somebody on the head with your stick, it is a penalty. There's no room for, hey, he didn't mean to do it. Like his stick got flung up in the air and hit a guy in the head. So I wonder...
why is that, Jesse?
What?
Why is that?
Because it needs to have a black and white so you can call the rules.
The rule exists, though, because it's dangerous.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And can lead to head injuries.
Yes.
Which we've acknowledged by creating rules that avoid head injuries, that head injuries can be a problem. Mm-hmm. Right?
So I would side on the way the rules are written now. Is an instance like this, that would be a penalty.
Yeah.
So
which is a lot of fans would be upset with that.
To me, that hit against Eichel is beautiful, and I'm cheering for him individually because I think him winning the cup would be very funny, given everything that's happening. I am ready for sassy Jack Eichel summer if that's what happens. But it's shoulder on shoulder. The head is,
it's getting mashed.
He hits his head because his shoulders hit. His neck jerks. The first thing I thought of was his neck.
Yeah.
Cannot believe he got up from that, let alone stayed in the game and got an assist out of it after winning a board battle. Oh my God, look at his fucking leg too.
Yeah. It's just it just looks ugly.
Oh my God, what a car crash.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's staggering. So, but anyway, I would be with Matthew Tkachuk if the principal point of contact was the head, which it wasn't, but if the principal point of contact was the head, I'd be like, okay, I can sort of understand though, because his target fell. Whereas with Gudas and Barbashev, they see each other and they're lining up the entire time. Mm-hmm. Like Barbashev had less of an excuse than Tkachuk would have to avoid the head of Radko Gudas, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the rule ought to be.
Yeah, if I'm fishing for the puck and it's against the boards and I'm fishing for the puck and you step on my stick and you fall, that's tripping on me.
I guess what people are worried about is players exploiting the rule where they're going to pretend like they got hit in the head.
Or they're going to drop their head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
and they will.
We can pretty reasonably assume Gudas wasn't faking it.
No, and I also think that the one problem with people saying, "Oh, I got hit, it was a hit to the head thing," is that there are those out there who are like, the extreme definition of it, where they would literally plow into you head first. And the thing with that is you can get injured doing that.
No player is going to do that.
I don't.
No player is going to do that twice.
Right. yeah.
There are a bunch of players who will try it once.
It's like the rule. You can swear on the radio, but only once.
Once. Yeah.
There's also embellishment. That is a rule in the NHL. Like if it looks like you're trying to put your head against somebody's body to get a hit,
that they don't
to get a call
nearly enough.
Yeah.
They do sometimes, but yeah, definitely not nearly enough.
There's like half a dozen a year.
Yeah.
And
So
you
how
can
do you think-
guarantee every year one of them is going to be against the Leafs?
We make a lot about like home ice advantage, right? Jesse, it doesn't start
Until you lose on
till you
home.
lose on home ice.
Yeah, 'cause-
And you're down 3-0. Just ask the Leafs.
No, 'cause you still-
That's when the series really started, when they went down 3-0.
The idea behind that is you still have your home
Moron.
ice advantage, right? Because you're supposed to win all your games at home and then collect a 1 or 2 on the road, and that's how you win the series.
Right.
So you're down 2-0, but you still have your home ice advantage, which is not the way you should look at things.
Yeah, you should just win. But
The series has started. You are down.
But do you think, because the residents of South Florida have been electric in the playoffs? Electric.
They've been having fun.
They've been having a good time, and they should. Do you think that actually matters with this Vegas team? Is that enough to boost Florida to a Game 3 victory? And I know that sounds like a stupid thing to ask, but like I'm kind of grasping at straws here, because Vegas is out Florida-ing Florida at basically everything, including fucking Aiden Hill and his big stupid paddle save in the first game.
Oh my
I
God.
tweeted that. I
It's the
said,
save of the year.
I said Florida just got Florida, and people were like, "You sound salty." I'm like, I don't sound salty. That's what Florida's done. They have ridden Bobrovsky like a horse all the way through the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that's what Aiden Hill just did. Just stole a goal from you.
Yeah, but they're not riding him to this.
Not
these
quite the
victories,
same,
right?
Not the same extent. No.
Yeah, because they're putting up more goals than Florida did.
I just want to say, and I want to ask, I guess, do you think that Florida wins Game 3? And is it the crowd? Is it they figure out the Golden Knights? Is it they go back to being opportunistic? Is it Bobrovsky gets the start, which we've already said he probably should?
Yeah, he's gonna.
And stands on his head again? I mean, first off, I think for Florida to win, they gotta be outshot. They have to let the game come to them. That's how they win.
It took me a sec to be like, wait, did he say? Oh, he did say. That's hilarious. I don't think the crowd might help the Panthers. It's not going to scare Vegas. And it's not a shot against the fans in Sunrise, but you're not going to out electric. You're not going to out loud the fans of the Vegas Golden Knights. You're not going to be louder in that building. T-Mobile's like a top 5 volume building in the league, probably already.
Oh yeah, no question.
A combination of rabid fandom and technology and Vegas booze.
And just being in Vegas, just generally Vegas.
Being in Vegas.
I want to ask though, quickly, do you think that what do you think the atmosphere is going to be better for? Golden Knights games or Raiders games?
Golden Knights.
Yeah,
Because
football atmospheres are fucking bonkers.
yeah, but I think in Vegas everyone really enjoys it because they're like, oh, cold building, let's fucking go.
Oh,
get to
air
be in a cold
conditioning.
building.
I think that's what aren't they building a covered stadium in Vegas too for the Raiders?
I hope
The Raiders are already there.
They're already there. Yeah,
they've been there.
And it's
They've
covered.
been there.
It's covered. It's air.
No, I
Not?
think there's a hole in the middle.
Oh, okay.
Las Vegas Raiders.
They didn't
to
feel
let
like
out the heat.
So when I was
probably.
there, I think it was 2021. I forget what year. It was in February or whatever. When you fly into the airport, the stadium's like right there. The football stadium. It's so cool.
Everything's right there.
You fly. It's like right off of the strip is this giant 100,000 or 80,000 seat stadium, and it's just an awesome location. But I'm gonna check the roof for you, Adam. Yeah, there is this like glass thing. I don't think it opens. So yeah, there's the mini roof on it.
Okay.
It's like see through.
There's a certain time of day
just so you can bake.
where the sun hits the roof a certain way, and if you're sitting in this one particular seat in the building, the sun hits you and you pop.
Oh, that's, you are human popcorn.
I think it'd be too hot if they had it open, right?
Yeah, I think so too. It's like 40 degrees.
Yeah,
Like,
it gets really hot.
That's what I thought. I figured. I just wondered because you are going to have that arena atmosphere if you go to a Raiders game. I don't know, Knights fans or Vegas residents, if you've been to both, Let us know in the comments section.
I'd
love to know.
They have down below on the sidelines, like
Ice.
no, this is on the football.
Shut up, Steve.
in Alliance Stadium.
You're such a shit.
They have like clubs. So
What?
it's not like an entirely a club, but like these little pods that are kind of like you get bar service there, and it's like there's like a couches you sit on. You know, it's really cool. It's very Vegas.
It's like in Miami where you get a swimming pool, right?
Yeah.
So I was in Vegas 2015 for the NHL Awards. So before they had an NHL team, and I was walking around with someone, and they stopped one of the women who worked in the MGM Grand. And he's just like, hey, I think he said, hey, do you sell beer? Or I think, or do you know where I can get a beer? And she just stopped and like looked at him like this. And she goes, this is Vegas, honey.
Anywhere.
And he's like, right. And she just like pointed behind him basically.
So this
like
was,
if we had kept going for another 15 feet, we would have saw it.
I love that.
this is what I was trying to explain. So they have Alliance Stadium features Winfield nightclub in the end zone for Raiders games. So you can see like there's a bunch of people. You know when you get a booth at a nightclub?
Oh, yeah.
Like that's what they're sitting in, and there's a bunch of tables at the back. And yeah, it's right at the back of the end zone.
Does that exist for do you think for Knights games as well? Because they have some special features at their games, don't they?
I don't know.
I've never been. And I remember we were talking last Friday about Justin and Steve were telling me about what it's like to fly into Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And like how the airport even, it's like
Slot machines.
Yeah, it's really
Second you
cool.
get off the plane.
I sat because of a listener who reached out because when I was going to Vegas, they reached out via Instagram and they're like, "Hey, I work for Alliant, who owns the football stadium, and they have a box in T-Mobile Arena, so I got to sit in one of the boxes at T-Mobile, and it was the middle of February, like it was a nothing game, and the atmosphere was electric. They do a whole parade of people coming to the stadium every game. There's a full band playing, and then you're in there and everybody's screaming their pregame ceremony, which now they broadcast on TV, which is awesome, and it's just a terrific place to watch hockey.
If you go to Vegas, here's a little homework assignment for you, a little math assignment. Get the little stopwatch app on your phone and calculate how much time you're outside.
whoa.
Guaranteed it's less than 5 minutes a day. Unless you make an effort to like, oh, we're going to walk around a little bit. If you like from getting out of your plane to the car doesn't count as outside, to getting in your car, to getting out of the car, to going to the game, and I guarantee it's less than 5 minutes a day. Like it's just ridiculously convenient. Unless you go to Henderson.
And then it's
Where the NHL chose to host their media day.
That's
because
right.
Who would have thought of hosting an event on the Strip? That would be stupid.
The problem is there's a lack of event space on the Strip.
Oh, yeah.
It just can't hold events there.
No.
You couldn't have a stage.
That's what people always say about
Audience.
Vegas. No room.
Just wish there was some place to entertain people.
I honestly thought, I think it was either at the airport, like flying there, or like after we had already landed. I was like, yeah, how far is it to the arena? And they're like half an hour. I'm like, the Vegas Golden Knights play half an hour away from MGM Grand? No. We're not going to where the Vegas Golden Knights play. We're going to where the Henderson Silver Knights play. And I'm like, so why are we staying at the MGM Grand? And then you stay at the MGM Grand and you're like, oh, yeah, that's pretty good.
And then you take your half an hour drive to Henderson.
And then you take your half an hour drive to Henderson, but you're in a car, which is, as we established, inside.
Did you do that with producer Nick or producer Drew?
Both.
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 I bet producer Drew was trouble. Sometimes when I listen to Drew and Stu, and they're coming back in the fall, by the way, for their football pick show, and they've got like a cult following. People love them, but like Drew would be a dangerous man, very quietly, I think, in Vegas, like fun.
Oh yeah,
because Drew is producer Drew is loud on Twitter, but not so much in real life. Like, would you say that he's not going to be the loudest guy that walks into the room?
Drew and producer Nick, to an extent as well, they just radiate Mediterranean energy. They're just organized chaos.
Yes.
At all times, and it's panic, stoicism, onward. And like they just everything's a crisis until it's solved, and then they're like seek and destroy mode. And
I think when they let loose, they're fun.
Oh, Drew's just one of those magical guys where you're hanging out with them, and then you go to the bathroom and you come out, and 5 minutes later you're like, "Where's Drew?" And he just comes walking up the hall. "Oh, hey, I won $600." You're like,
That sounds like a Drew. Drew thing.
how did you do that?
Adam's the only one here who has never been to Vegas, so it sounds like we need to take a trip.
I'd like to go. I want to see a Knights game.
I want to see you guys check out T-Mobile Arena. It's a must-see atmosphere for any NHL fan.
So when I was planning my bachelor party for my first wedding, there have been 2. We had a weekend set where we could have seen the Pittsburgh. We're going to go to Pittsburgh, and you don't usually go to Pittsburgh for your bachelor party, but my mom's from there. I love Pittsburgh. Steve's seen the Stanley Cup final there.
Yep.
And we could have seen the Leafs and the Leafs and Penguins on Saturday night, and then stuck around till Sunday and see the Ravens and Steelers, which would have been bonkers.
We wanted to make it happen,
but it just was too much money.
It was a
lot of money. So we ended up in Montreal, which was also a freaking riot.
We saw the Habs beat the Red Wings 10-1.
Yeah, that was crazy. On one of the worst Hab years ever. I wanted to know, could we do a Leafs Golden Knights Saturday night and then a Raiders Who Gives a Fuck?
yeah.
I'd do it.
Yeah.
I would love.
They pay you to fly to Vegas.
It's cheap.
So cheap.
Adam, somebody on our Discord, just because you mentioned your divorce, someone on our Discord, after we were trying to come up with SDPN 10 hashtags,
Yeah.
they think for the 10-year anniversary of your divorce, you do D10 divorce.
What about? Hold on. D1V0ROC. How do you spell divorce? D-I-V-O-R.
You want to know?
So D1V0RCE.
Or
So hold on.
Yeah, or you could just do 10 and then force.
D1.
You guys are overthinking this.
Divorce.
10 vorce. 10
Like that.
vorce.
Like that. Like then it's 10.
Here, hold on. Let me
No.
put it up
Come
here.
on.
No, that looks too much like an MSN username.
It does look a little bit like that.
10 vorce.
Are we doing t-shirts? The 10-year
So
anniversary?
I don't mind the D10 vorce.
I just thought the O should be a 0. Don't you think?
But then it's just divorce, you know?
D10 vorce is better.
Yeah, I think it's more goofy.
You know that
That's what we're doing.
V in Latin means 5. It denotes 5. So could we do could we use that as at all or no?
Like your divorce is the Super Bowl?
It's 5. No, but what in Latin they would do is,
So
is they'd be like, so instead of IV is 4, VI is 6. That's how they. So could we do like a double V?
No.
2V.
I'm sad. I'm
divorce.
disappointed I brought this
Two
up.
divorce.
So wait.
Hashtag two divorce.
So wait,
10 years of two divorce.
so on the 4-year anniversary, we
That's
could do
so bad.
So wait, divorce the way it's spelled, if you take Roman numerals, it's D-force.
That's right. It's true.
Oh shit.
Yeah. X is 10, by the way.
All right, divorce teacher.
No,
coming
it's
soon.
D-force.
Well, listen.
Yeah, I think Florida could win Game 3. I think they got what it takes.
Since we're talking about merch, is this a good time I can bring up today's retro SDP launch?
Terrible time.
It's horrendous.
Trying to do a show here.
Yeah, no, this is for Pride, baby. All the proceeds going to our Pride initiative. Go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah, the pride is.
So, Voodoo Wizardry and Bull Poop t-shirts have been selling very well, Steve. So
that's cool.
It's been awesome. And then Deep Dish Threetza as well, which launched on Monday. And then now we have to the collection, Clap Shit Bombs.
Oh, let's
Clap
go!
Shit Bombs is coming back. It is out now. You can get the Clap Shit Bombs t-shirt.
Steve, can you explain the story here?
Before you explain that one,
okay, sorry.
on Monday, I was struggling to remember how Deep Dish Threetza came about, and because people have been around for so long, they reminded us. So you said it was because the Blackhawks won the cup, and you're trying to come up with something. So it originated, yes, but also NHL headlines. So NHL.com headlines for people who weren't around in 2015.
That was so much
We
fun.
used to try and guess the puns that NHL.com would use because every time a big event happened, they'd have a very punny headline. And for one of them, it was the Blackhawks win the cup, and you tried to guess what is it going to be, and your guess was so horrendous, and it was deep dish Stritza, and it was in the NHL headlines game, and then we made T-shirts out of it because it made us laugh so
Oh
much.
my God.
And if I remember correctly, they did not sell.
Our merch was ass. Like, our merch was so bad early on. We look at the emoji. Like, that's what we would do.
So yes, today now we are bringing back Clap Shit Bombs T-shirt, and Steve, explain Clap Shit Bombs.
Clap shit bombs has to do with a story that Adam has only explained 45 or 46 times.
That's right.
Where back in the day, they didn't play with pucks, which are made of vulcanized rubber. They played with horse and cow shit, which are called road apples.
That's right.
And I know that because you said that 1,000
A
times.
science teacher called it. He said, we didn't play with pucks or balls. We couldn't afford them. We play with couch cushions and road apples.
Road
And then he was an old man, so we'd get in close and be like, do you know what road apples are?
Yeah. And then, so I said, I miss, it was when hockey was for men, right? It's none of these namby-pamby pucks. We don't need that vulcanized rubber from Slovenia. Whatever happened to clap shit bombs like a man?
Yeah, that's right.
Just bang.
Ooh.
The puck disintegrate. Like, what would you do if half of the hunk of shit went in? Like, what would you be like? Well, most of it went in.
Well, it was like minus 40 too. Like, it was cold.
Like, there were probably fist fights with blood and missing teeth because a goal was disputed because the road apple broke into pieces because you just clapped a shit bomb with a 40-pound wooden stick. You know? You know how you do
You clap
when you clap a shit bomb with a 40-pound
I forgot this
broken
is how this all came together,
wooden
by the way.
stick?
Wow.
Yeah, that's how it came together.
So there you go. So, and by the way, Jesse, can we talk about the results? Because I have them here, but if you want me to.
Yeah, go.
Well, I just want to thank the Dangle Navy community because Get Real's goal for this year, for the 5K, the virtual 5K, was $2,500, and they are currently at $3,100, and approximately $2,800 is from the SDPN team. And by the team, we include you in that because it is you who are making the donations, and obviously we're making ours as well. And we just want to say, so we're going to be raising the goal because we're in the first week of June and we're already doing this. It shows how much people in this community care about this initiative and about pride, and so we're really grateful, and we just wanted to take a moment and say thank you so much because that's pretty darn cool.
I want to thank you guys for upping the goal like I told you to last episode.
We were at like 71%, and you're like, raise it.
Yo, you gotta have confidence.
Let us reach 100.
You gotta believe.
And then we'll keep going for this terrific organization.
Reach the new 100.
That's it's like that agent that Alan called, but when he wanted to be a sports agent. I don't know if you've heard that story, but Alan called like a baseball agent, and he's like an old-timey baseball guy. And he said, hey, I would like to be an agent. He's like, you got to have balls, kid. And then he hung up on him. That was it.
You gotta up the limit. You gotta up the goal, kid. Click.
There you go.
So
More.
yeah,
What
thank
should
you.
it be? More.
Thank you, everyone, for hitting our goal. And if you want to keep donating, the link is in the description, or you can visit sdpn.ca/pride. All the info's there. And yeah, if you want to just keep buying the merch, that is all going towards Get Real and Rainbow Railroad as well. So yeah, lots of people have been supporting in that way, and they're like, hey, I get something instead of just the donation. So yeah, buy the merch or just send your funds towards our fundraiser for the 5K. And because we reached 100%, this means we have to commit to doing the 5K. And Steve, where's your kayak?
I still need my friend's truck.
Oh, God.
Someone
I didn't
wrote,
say you.
someone
I need Adam's truck.
someone wrote, I believe it was on the Discord, that one trip up and down the Humber River portion that you can kayak is around 5K.
Damn.
So, venue?
Humber River?
Where is the Humber River?
It's over in
West End.
Etobicoke.
Yeah, just Etobicoke.
You know that big, beautiful bridge is?
You know that white bridge?
Yeah, that
that people
beautiful white
bike over? Yeah.
And you take all those-
Ajax has access to water. I am not going to friggin' Etobicoke for this shit.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I'll come to Ajax.
Fucking acts like Durham is Narnia. Oh, you can go to Etobicoke. Oh, fuck you.
All right. Well, we'll get producer Drew out there with a camera all the way to Ajax.
Oh, you think he'll be able to make it?
I don't know. He's coming from Brampton. It's a far way.
What's he living in Brampton for? You know? Oh, this is fun. I like pulling this card. This is great. Oh, Steve, what do you live in Ajax for? Where do you live in Brampton?
Get the kayak ready.
Sounds far.
Baseball is back, and I know everybody wants to hit a home run, but you can't do that when your untrimmed bush is starting to look like Wrigley Field.
Oh. What's with the vibrato?
Get your game on point with Manscaped, and you can start scoring on and off the field with top-notch grooming products trusted by the numbers going up. 8 million men worldwide.
Wow.
When we first started, it was like 3 million men. Now it's 8 million.
Is that
There are a lot of men
So many more men.
with trimmed bushes. And you can be like that too. And listen, we want to get you the performance package 4.0 here. The lawnmower is what they call it. Basically, it's one of those things. They call it the Mike Trout of trimmers. And after using
Is that what they're calling
your
it, Adam?
confidence level will be as high as his batting average, which is really high.
We don't need a lawn mower.
When-
At Wrigley Field, we need a wall mower.
You need a weed
You have to
whacker.
mow the wall.
When's Manscaped going to sign Kyle Busch?
Oh,
He's the number one driver in NASCAR right now, and his name is Kyle Busch.
that's right.
Throw a Manscaped logo on his car.
No, they don't need Kyle Busch because you don't pay attention. They just signed a guy.
What?
No.
What are you going to say?
He thinks it's funny before that means it's not funny.
No, what is
he
it?
thinks it's funny before
What
he
is
delivers
it?
a line. I know you're gonna hate this. We're gonna groan.
He's a catcher named Kelly Pubes.
What?
That wasn't even good.
I don't understand. Why is that funny?
Hey, Adam. They signed this guy. His name's Daniel Dickenballs.
That would have been good also.
Jeff Nosehair, which you can trim with the lawnmower. Sorry, the Weed Whacker 2.0. Also, you can get at your hair. And the Crop Preserver, don't forget that. That's the anti-chafing ball deodorant. Perfect for summer.
That was bad.
Trim your bat and your balls with Manscaped and get into the MVP discussion this season. Most valuable player, of course, is Dangle. We use his last name for the promo code. It's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Again, it's 20% off free shipping with the code DANGLE at manscaped.com. What, Steve?
Balls beshaved. No?
Like Boba Fett. Yeah, no.
Wow.
That's bad.
It's better than the last one.
Can you read the promo? Steve kind of stepped on that.
DANGLE
Yeah.
is your promo code. 20% off and free shipping. DANGLE.
Thank you.
Hey, we mentioned it already, but did somebody say...
What?
Did somebody
say...
What?
Thank you.
Thank you. Feast for the cup. Did somebody say skip? Basically, we have a countrywide code. So anywhere Skip the Dishes delivers, that's the entire country. You can use the code DANGLE10 to save $20 off when you spend, save $10 off when you spend $20 or more. There are 1,500 total redemptions. These are going to go fast.
I'm going to use
They went
all.
quickly last time. So get it. It starts today. It's available for the Stanley Cup. We want you to feast for the cup on Thursday as well.
Yeah, and bring a cup to the feast.
Somebody say skip.
Redeemable only on delivery orders at any restaurant, grocer, or convenience store on Skip. Jesse, do you have anything that you would like to add?
I would like to add that Steve is definitely going to order 1,500 orders of chicken wings.
Do you think it's possible? And could he eat them all?
Yes.
That sounds like a challenge.
Okay. Check it out. It's Dangle10, as in Dangle10 is the code to use for $10 off of orders of $20 or more. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to play a fun little game with the Columbus Blue Jackets until Mike Babcock gets hired, and even after that. Because if you remember, Mike Babcock's contract expires June 30th. The Columbus Blue Jackets, who have no intention of helping the Leafs out, even for the last month of this contract, because I bet it's expensive.
Fuck you two guys.
Are going to sign him July 1st, and we're going to play a little game called Was It Mike Babcock? Ivan Provorov is now a Columbus Blue Jacket, and it comes on a 3-team trade that sees LA drop the salary that they really wanted to drop with Cal Peterson. And I guess I don't think they were like in a hurry to get Sean Walker out of town, but it's a little more off the cap.
Sweetener.
Yeah, it's sweetener. And Philadelphia acquires Cal Peterson, who maybe could be a good goalie or maybe is terrible for the remaining 2 years of his contract. And I tend to think that he might bounce back. Goalies have the tendency of doing that at the NHL level.
He'll either be fine or their ticket to the first overall pick.
Right. But Philadelphia acquires a first round pick, which is from Columbus, but originally from LA. They will get either Columbus's 24 or 25 second round pick and LA's 2024 second round pick. So good little haul for Danny Briere for a defenseman who, I mean, honestly, the Philadelphia Flyers have been trying to trade Ivan Provorov for 3 or 4 years. He's been involved with a whole bunch of trade discussions, and I guess we'll start with what he brings to the Columbus Blue Jackets. The rumor was, by the way, that he desperately wanted the Leafs to select Provorov back in the day when he was up for the draft.
I think he wanted a defenseman.
And Hannafin's name came up, Provorov's name came up,
And Werenski.
Which
is interesting because now he's got both.
Right.
He's got Provorov and Werenski. So Babcock really, really, really wanted a D-man. Mm-hmm. So naturally, the Mark Hunter and the Leafs picked Mitch Marner, and Babcock made his life hell because he never wanted him.
Mm-hmm. Weird, right?
It's interesting because, Columbus's D-core is decidedly better now, whether you think Provorov's a great player or not.
I think it's fair to say Provorov's better than what they had.
Well, I mean, especially at 30% retained.
Yeah.
He's making under $5 million. That's fine. Makes Werenski's life a little easier, which he could probably use on account of he's coming off a year where he basically didn't play hockey because of injury. Mm-hmm. And so you're going to have Seth Jones, who can... Oh, wait, no.
That's the Chicago Blackhawks.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
wow,
have here's their pairings: Werenski, Andrew Peeke, Provorov, Buchwist, Blankenship, and Goodbranson, because Gavrikov, remember, was also traded. They could always... Blankenberg.
The ship hit the bird?
It did. It sure did. Blankenberg's dead ahead. I think...
Jake Bean's also in there, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess he's injured.
Yeah.
He's on the injured list. Jake Bean is in
there.
Werenski.
It's decidedly a D-core that needed some help.
Sure.
Right? So I don't begrudge them for that. Mm-hmm. But I almost don't care about Columbus's end of it.
Okay.
I barely care about the Kings end of it. Well, okay. The Kings end of it will become relevant because they freed up cap space.
Yeah.
So they're obviously ready to make a move. Columbus's end of it is obvious. They wanted a player and they got a player. Holy shit, Danny Briere. That'll do. That's a good start. Okay, so you take Cal Peterson. That sucks. That sucks a lot.
Well, that's salary for salary, right?
Yeah. Sean Walker, instantly Philadelphia's D-core gets better. Helge Grans, who's a prospect who a lot of smart people like, a 2024 second-round pick, a 2023 first-round pick, another 2024 second-round pick. No, I don't think I'm reading this wrong on Cap Friendly. Dude, how the hell did Danny Briere get all that? Is Peterson that bad?
I think his season was that bad.
His season was certainly that bad.
I also don't think he's that bad. But I think
he was unusable.
I think that LA needed to move. They needed that cap out of there. They obviously have they have Korpisalo now. That's their new guy. That's who they're going to go with. And it frees up room for you to do something else this summer.
But with the Kings, there's just, not the Kings, the Flyers, there's just no pressure to win next year. So if Peterson stinks out the joint, you're fine. And also there's rumors flying around that Carter Hart is going to be on his way out as well.
Well, yeah. So the rumor is it's either two teams that are really interested as of this morning in a Carter Hart deal, which is formulating apparently right now, is Edmonton and Montreal.
Do we mention the elephant in the room?
No. Wait till it comes out.
Well,
the allegations are circling, but we don't know. So we can't.
That is I think what could potentially be holding up a deal. I mean, if you're a team trading for him, you're going to want
If you think that that's holding up a deal, I think you're nuts. And the reason I say that is if that was holding up a deal, it would hold any team from calling. Just wait.
Fair.
Simply wait. I don't think these teams care. If they did, they wouldn't call. Because I can tell you, the three of us running a business, we wouldn't call. No. We wouldn't call if it was simply, somebody's got that. I'd probably wait and see how that plays out. But these teams don't seem to care. And
there's nothing confirmed. Right? So, I don't want to pass judgment.
And that's why I'm saying let's talk the hockey end of this because we just don't know.
Yeah. No, but a lot of people were rightfully pointing out there's a factor here.
And it's good that we've acknowledged it, but we have nothing else to say on it.
Yeah.
So, the only thing we can go on is the hockey thing here. And the reality of the situation is I think there are certain players that get the reputation early on in their career. Like Carter Hart had an unbelievable start to the NHL. He was amazing. And when Ron Hextall was fired for not bringing him up, and then they brought him up in a great year, that amazingly such superbly well-run Flyers front office was doing, jumping jacks and backflips and how great they were and how bad Ron was. And then, of course, he has followed that up with potato after potato. He hasn't been great.
He bounced back a bit.
Okay, but is bounce back a bit what you're looking for if you're Edmonton or Montreal?
You're betting on the improvement. You're betting on continued improvement. I think the league has a number of goalies who probably started their career too fast. Too early.
Yep.
And it exposed flaws in their game. Matt Murray, I don't know if he falls into that. He got into the league way faster than most do. And he burned hot for a while. And there's that fire is what was there before is not there now. Another guy who started too soon and his success this year shouldn't have been a surprise to anybody. Ilya Samsonov. Oh man, this guy stinks. What? He's 25. That's when most goalies break in.
How old is Carter Hart?
He's got to be 24 at this point, right?
I think maybe even less. 23?
He's 24 years old. He played on a bad Flyers team where he had a 907. His best year, remember that playoff run in 2020 where he played 14 games with a 926. That's the Carter Hart we all remember and that we think he can be. And I don't think it's a bad bet to just say, hey, let's play this out and see if he can do it. Carter Hart only has one more year left on his contract. After this season, he's a UFA. He's going to be playing for a contract.
He's not an RFA.
Let me double check, but I'm pretty sure his expiry would be UFA because he'd be 25 and he'd have a fair amount of time in the league. Let me see. His expiry is RFA still. Wow.
Yeah, that's high value, man.
Wow.
That's high value.
At 3.9 million RFA expiry, I would take a chance on Carter Hart.
It's like Sammy.
There's a chance he's playing for a contract. He might be able to play a little better, We'll see.
And, they probably
24.
look across the division at Washington and what happened with Sammy, and they go, well, shit. They could have got something for him, right?
Montreal makes sense.
Montreal does make some sense. Edmonton makes some sense, except, hey, what's going to happen with Jack Campbell?
Well, I wondered about that. What do you think? That was going to be my next question, actually. I'm so glad you brought that up. What do you think happens with Jack Campbell? Because they obviously believe what they have in Stuart Skinner is real. If they go and they get Carter Hart, are they sending Jack Campbell to Philadelphia? And it's a Peterson Campbell.
Whoa. No, I don't.
You'd be flipping major assets to Philly as well to take on Campbell. But if I look at, if I'm Philadelphia and I'm full rebuild, full tear him down, it's going to get ugly rebuild. And it's already ugly. Isn't Jack Campbell a great guy to have around? He's a genuinely good person. He treats teammates with respect, immensely popular, can get you 30 good games a year. You shouldn't be playing him more than that. His body doesn't hold up. And obviously it didn't go well in Edmonton. He's going to be playing for a coach that expects strong defensive systems, which can help maybe limit some of his limitations, especially as he's getting older. I say that as he's getting into his 30s. Oh, God.
There was a time this past season when we talked about buying out Jack Campbell after year one of a 5-year deal.
Yeah.
But if you really go and look at his season, he was unusable for, I don't know, like 2 months. Like just a guaranteed egg.
Okay.
Every
Yeah. Yeah, it was
win
terrible.
or lose, he's going to be bad. Then he went on like a 8-game heater. Remember, 7 or 8 game heater. And then after that, even though there was a dip, and there were a lot of games where he didn't look very good, and some games where you could say, he cost them or whatever. He was usable. He was usable, right? If you have Stuart Skinner and Campbell is an overpaid, usable backup who is a locker room net positive, do you pay him to not play for you, or do you spend assets to trade him and in that regard pay him to not play for you, or do you bet on him bouncing back?
I mean, listen, you bet on
little
him,
bit.
You bet on him. You bet on him for 5 years, right? The first year didn't go well. Yes, I can see where that's the case, Steve. But Edmonton, like and the Leafs are included in this. There's a lot of teams included in this. Edmonton needs to win a cup, and you can't afford to have a goalie who's overpaid to the extent that Jack Campbell is, preventing you from going out and filling out. I mean, their forwards are fine. I think we know that Edmonton's forward fine. I think Leon Draisaitl is still leading the playoffs in goal scoring right now. Still leading the playoffs.
I think you're right.
I think the forwards are fine. I think they could use some better defense and more consistent goaltending. That $3 or $4 million that Jack Campbell doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, if you have to pay $1 million to hold back so Philly will take him, that $3 or $4 million gets you the defenseman, the 2, 3, the 4, 5, 6 guy that you need.
Yeah. Yeah, this is where I think
that's an Alec Martinez type of guy.
I know.
Who I love, by the way.
I think that's where the Hart rumors come from. Not anything actually tangible. It's just, well, hey, Edmonton needs a guy, but they gotta find a way to get rid of the other guy first.
I think Philly makes sense.
There's a stretch in the regular season where Jack Campbell went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-1. In that 9-1 run, he was only above a 905 in 1, 2, 3, 4 of those games.
And 90, I want to say league average goaltending this past season was 904.
So he was league average in 4 of those 9 wins.
The rest he was below?
Yeah.
So he was
1, 2, 3, 4. No, 5, sorry. Because there's a 909 in there.
He was bad, man.
It wasn't a good season at all. He finished with an 888 save percentage on the entire year. Like you said, unusable for until January, until that stretch. And that's a guy you gave that big contract. But the thing about the end of the Edmonton Oilers run is that they should have went to Jack Campbell in the playoffs because he was outperforming Stuart Skinner every time he took the net. He made 4 playoff appearances. I believe, I forget, I don't have his playoff numbers in front of me. I think he finished with around a 960-ish. He was in for 3 losses because that's when he comes into the game.
And the Oilers are good for a comeback.
Yeah, and he did win the one game he started when he only allowed 1 goal on 28 shots. And he was their best. In a very tiny sample size, he was their best playoff performer. Mm-hmm. So if you take something away from their playoff run, it's that it's good to have 2 goalies and that there's still something there and that maybe you play it out again the first 2 months of the season with these 2 goalies and you see what you have. Because there is something still there with Jack Campbell, even though he had one of the worst regular seasons ever for somebody who just signed a $5 million per year, 5-year contract.
And we just talked about goalies who maybe graduated a little too early. They have to find a way to prevent that from being Stuart Skinner.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Another really young guy.
And how you do that is you have Jack Campbell who can sit in for 35 games, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it comes down to Jack, but also you just need to improve that decor.
That too.
And I'm excited for a full season of Ekholm, but I think if you're an Oilers fan, Oilers fans are now, they've had their appetite whetted. They're not. This is like second round isn't good enough anymore. And I kind of love that mentality because for the Leafs for so long, it's just get through the first round. The Oilers are like, no, conference finals, Stanley Cup finals. That's it. That's all we're accepting. I appreciate that because that means you have a high standard in your mind of what this team should be able to do. And honestly, Darnell Nurse maybe hasn't worked out the way that they thought. He has been hurt.
That deal's not.
He wasn't good.
But the deal stinks.
That deal's bad.
Yeah.
And unless he has a major sort of bounce back, gets the body right, becomes the player they thought he was going to be, that deal is going to be slightly rich for the duration.
Yep.
So you got to find some value in another defenseman that people undervalue to balance it and bring some stability to. And their defense wasn't bad. It's just they need more.
No, like that guy could be Evan Bouchard. Like that could have been his coming out party where it's him who's the star on the defense side. But the Darnell Nurse deal it's so bad because you look at it and he's the second highest paid player on the Edmonton Oilers. And on a team with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, you can't have that.
Yeah.
And he's taking up so much cap space for, and he's not that important to the team. Like he's not worth the 11% of the cap that he's taking up. And when you have these two stars, in McDavid and Draisaitl, you hope that you can allocate money better than that. And I don't know how you move that deal. I think you're just stuck with it, and you just hope that he becomes the player you hope he can be.
I think you could move that deal if you really wanted to. I don't think they want to.
He has a no move clause.
I think they could still make that work.
He has a no move clause, and the deal runs through 2030.
Yeah.
It is $9.25 million.
His signing bonuses don't even kick in.
And it's not one of those deals where you send it to Arizona and like they pay like $1 million every year. No. His base salary each year is 12 mil, 10 mil, 12 mil, 10 mil, and then finally in 2026, 2027, you get that signing bonus base salary allocation where it's like he gets paid 6 and then 2 and then 1 million during the season.
Yeah, that anchor's good and heavy. That boat ain't going anywhere.
It's a rough contract.
Well, maybe he's better with a healthier season. Like,
yeah.
I like forget the guys they have. Like, forget Nurse, forget Campbell. The Ekholm swing was a swing that I didn't think Ken Holland had in him.
Mm-hmm. It was a great one.
So there's reason to hope for Oilers fans. How did we get on this? Oh, Carter Hart.
Yeah.
There's reason to hope that there could be a more brash, creative summer than you might have anticipated in years past.
Mm-hmm. The thing, Ken Holland, he did such a great move moving out Tyson Barrie because that allowed Evan Bouchard to become the player that everybody thought he could be, because there's that thing where you have only so much room on the ice, and Tyson Barrie was taking up that spot that Evan Bouchard took a hold of in the playoffs, and it was so great to see. And then Ken Holland's like, fuck, now I have to give him a contract.
Yeah.
Because he's an RFA now, and Evan Bouchard's earned a decent sized deal here. So now he's gotta up that salary, and I don't know what that number is in terms of like the RFA compensation that he has to hand out to Evan Bouchard, but it's gonna be a sizable amount.
That's the salary cap, man.
Yeah.
Whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's gonna be fascinating. The Oilers are I'm like, the one thing you could say about Ken Holland is he does know how to get a team to the next level in a cap era. He did it. And he did it when the cap was a lot tighter. So he has done it. It was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, but I still want to see what the Oilers do. I still want to know maybe Ken Holland's got a second jump into him. That's like that Ekholm trade was absolute genius. Mm-hmm. Genius. It was so good.
He's good at taking swings.
It's a perfect player.
I can't help but think of that lasting shot of Draisaitl briefly shaking hands with Alex Pietrangelo. And I think the Oilers are going to go into the summer going, that can never fucking happen again. That first game between Edmonton and Vegas next year is going to be a bloodbath.
You think so?
Oh,
I'm standing up.
If the NHL does things right, opening night is Edmonton at Vegas with the banner raising ceremony.
Oh, that's mean.
That'd be awesome.
That's mean.
The NBA does that with their Christmas Day.
Just kind of be like, see that, Connor?
The NBA does a great job with that for their Christmas Day matchups. It'll be like the biggest blood feud and the two biggest stars. And
on Christmas,
they'll save that for, like, they won't have those teams play each other up until that moment. But the NHL's kind of big moments are like their opening night, whoever they kick off the season with. That'd be a cool matchup, Edmonton, Vegas.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm gonna need second helpings of that, please.
That would be
pending
a lot of fun.
a Stanley Cup victory.
Now, I want to talk about what the original conversation started with, and you'll find this hard to believe. We talked about the Blue Jackets, and we've talked about some of this. I actually want to do. I do want to focus on the Los Angeles Kings for a second here.
Okay.
Here's another team that I don't think anybody denies that they're really good.
They're close.
They're close. Mm-hmm. So what do they need to be, and what do they need to do? And Jesse, can you bring up their cap friendly? I don't have it.
I got it right here.
I'm looking at the LA Kings and going, okay, so what now? Do they need some pure goal scoring? Do they need to get goofy with the cap like the Golden Knights and the Lightning and the Leafs have, because they've got the money to do it? What is it that the Los Angeles Kings need to do here?
Saves. They need saves.
And they have a goalie that can give them that.
Well,
Korpisalo is a UFA, though.
that's the problem. There's rumors they want to re-sign Gavrikov. Did I hallucinate seeing he wanted $6 million? No.
I haven't seen
I don't know
that.
what the number is.
Not a snowball's chance in hell.
But there's a lot of people that really like Gavrikov, and I don't get it. I think he's good. I don't think
he's fine.
A first-round pick good. I don't think he's a $6 million defenseman.
He's fine. The juicy rumor, not rumor, it's the juicy assumption, is if they are committed to blowing this up a little bit, how do you pry Connor Hellebuyck out of Winnipeg? Hellebuyck,
what a
on
perfect
the
fit.
Kings? Oh,
man, Hellebuyck on the Oilers. If he's available, the Oilers have got to swing at that.
Yeah, but there's something about the Jets and Oilers. They just won't let it happen, I'm sure. King.
Hellebuyck to the Kings makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm so glad we wouldn't be in the Western Conference.
If I
love him.
I look at Korpisalo as the long-term answer because it's free. It is all it costs you is money. With Hellebuyck, you got to give up assets, and the Kings got a lot of assets, but I don't want to break up any parts of that team that looked really good versus the Oilers. So I don't know. Korpisalo was really good for them. I don't know if he's a good locker room guy, but I would just spend the money to keep him.
Yeah, Oilers tore him apart though.
He had a good little run.
We know teams put too much on what happened in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And yeah, he was great down the stretch for them, for sure. But boy, did the Oilers fucking tear him apart. I don't know about that one. Edler coming off the books is pretty cool.
It's helpful, right?
He's old. He's so old. He's so friggin' old.
I can't believe he's still playing, honestly.
He's 37. We're all going to die. He's so old.
The Korpisalo numbers were 921 in the regular season for the Kings and then an 892 in the series versus the Oilers.
That's tough. That is very tough.
You're not wrong. They did tear him apart a little.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah.
Looking for the LA Kings scored 274 goals this year. That puts them 10th in the entire NHL.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Okay. Mm-hmm. The LA Kings allowed 254 goals, which is 17th. So you'd think if they could just improve that a little, they're probably fine.
Mm-hmm.
Dude. Hellebuyck. Just for maximum chaos, make it happen. Make it happen.
That's a scary team with Connor.
California would once again be slightly ugly to play.
And I mean, it's probably not going to be
the Ducks.
Just 1 of 3.
Dude, the Ducks are shocking.
The Ducks are so bad.
Yeah. It's disturbing.
It's depressing.
The how bad the Ducks could be.
I called that before the season even began.
Did you?
Remember, because we were ragging on the Coyotes, and oh my God, like how are they even going to ice a team? And I remember saying, we do not give the Ducks enough shit for being absolutely awful.
Yeah. They deserve Connor Bedard. I feel bad.
Man, no. If we're talking about on-ice product, the Blue Jackets were despicable. Mm-hmm. The Ducks were...
barely a hockey team.
Barely a hockey club. I was right to be mad when the Leafs lost to them. I don't care how early in the season it was. I was absolutely right. That's not an NHL quality team to lose to. And the Blackhawks showed up. They showed up and they were relatively competitive even in games that they lost. Listen, they sucked. They were shit, but they were watchable. The Ducks weren't watchable. That wasn't a watchable hockey team. I think they're going to be fine in the future.
They were a lifeless husk of a franchise. Except for the one game they absolutely steamrolled the Leafs.
They came back from 3-1. The whole team should have been forced to forfeit the next 3 games and just done bag skates.
What do you think their...
No, I'm not done.
Their goal differential.
What was it?
What do you think it is?
Was it the worst in the league?
Yes.
Okay.
By far.
160.
No, you're way off. 129.
That's still pretty shit.
Minus 129. The next closest was the Blackhawks at minus 97.
Maroon!
No. Next closest was Columbus, actually. Minus 116.
Oh, okay. That's much closer.
A little better.
Whoa.
Yeah. Not a great year for Ducks.
No, they were terrible.
Finished the year 0-8-2.
But they have the number 2 pick, right?
They did, yeah. They got the number 2.
Oh, Zegras, Fantilli.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the defenseman? Drysdale. Yeah, they're gonna be good, but
they get the number 2 pick in the Sidney Crosby draft. They get the number 2 pick in the Connor McDavid draft.
Well, bummer for them. They only won a Stanley Cup with the number 2 pick.
Who will be the better team coach?
Is that Adam, are you upset?
Yeah, I'm mad because we had the number 1 pick and we still haven't done it. It drives me crazy.
Who will be the better or worse team to coach? Because Greg Cronin, who just got hired to be the Ducks head coach, he, if I'm not mistaken, was on Randy Carlyle's staff with the Leafs, which means when Randy Carlyle was let go, Greg Cronin was an assistant coach for Peter Horacek.
Oh, wow.
Now he's coaching the Ducks.
I think, you know what? I think as long as he can get them to play some semblance of hockey in a strategic sense. Like, if we're going to lose, at least we went down swinging. Like, one thing I'll say about Babcock is that first year with the Leafs, as, you know, they did finish last, but they looked pretty good doing it.
They were watchable.
They were watchable. It was not, like, depressing. It was like, this is kind of exciting, and sometimes they were in a game, and you go, they lost because they can't score for shit.
They were too competitive.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Holland Greening nearly fucked that whole thing up.
They're considered one of the best last place teams of all time. They had 67 points or 68 points.
Statistically, they are.
Yeah.
69. How could you forget?
That's nice.
Yeah, 69 points.
Had to be 67 or 69, one of the two. Right.
Had to be.
So I think you know, as long as he can get them doing that. I mean, like, and no offense to Dallas Eakins, I think is, as many coaches have experienced, sometimes your time is just up. But boy, they played scary hockey last year. It was just an abysmal, demoralizing. By the way,
look at their last 10 games.
Yeah, 0-8-2.
Have we heard anything about the Bally Sports effect on the NHL next season? I know that the Angels took their broadcasting in-house, but the reason I ask is because Anaheim's a part of that, like the Ducks are a part of that. And I wonder if they're going to take, I wonder if it was some of those California teams, some of the smaller cities that Bally's a part of, like I would say smaller cities. You know, these are bigger hockey markets, but you know, are they taking their broadcasting in-house? Is the NHL going to do it on the NHL network?
I would imagine those payments aren't due while it's off season. So the Bally's kind of probably delaying the NHL rights and making decisions on that until closer to the season. So we probably won't hear anything closer to September.
There's no cameras in the LA area.
But
I don't know how they're going to pull it off.
What MLB teams are doing is the future of sports broadcasting, I think, for sure.
I think I actually said it out loud. The Ducks were 0-8-2 in their final.
I said that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, earlier.
Okay, well, it bears repeating. Holy shit.
Say it again.
They were 0-8-2 in their final 10 games.
Do you remember who they got when they didn't get Sidney Crosby?
Bobby Ryan.
Well,
can you?
Not good enough for the Olympics, Bobby Ryan.
I want to know when the Ducks' last win was.
Regulation win, you're asking for.
Holy shit.
Give me a second.
That's horrible, man. And watch, we're going to find out it affected the Bedard sweepstakes. Okay, did they have a win in April?
All right, so that would have been...
Did they have a win in April?
Out of 7 games.
Regulation win, no. They didn't win in April. They lost a whole bunch there.
Okay.
Still not winning. Last win was versus Columbus on March 17th.
fuckery a duckery.
They won 7-4.
Man, Ducks fans, God bless you guys. Need a hug.
Oh yeah,
You deserve a hug.
Calgary losing to the Ducks.
Holy.
not acceptable.
Whoa.
The Calgary is fighting for a playoff spot.
Oh, I remember that. That was
Yeah.
a big game for Calgary.
Yeah,
Because
That was like that was a big story.
yeah, 3-1.
that's like, all right, we're done.
Yeah,
We're done.
We're cooked. Yeah.
they did go on to beat them later in the March, but like that early March loss, like that's not great.
So wait, the gray ones are road games?
Yeah,
So that win against Calgary on March 10th was their final road win.
yeah,
Holy fuck!
yeah, because they didn't
come on.
win a game in April, and then they would have won March 10th. When was the last home win? Oh, okay. So the 17th was at home. Yeah.
Whoa.
They were unbeatable on Fridays.
Wow.
They were.
Unbeatable.
They had a 3-game Friday win streak.
They were 3-0 in March.
They beat Montreal, Calgary, and Columbus on Fridays in the month of March.
For the final month and a half. Go now we're doing it. I
what
want
do
to
you
know
want?
their
What do you
last
want?
non-Friday win
Their last
season.
non-Friday win of
was
the
in
season
February.
was February 27th versus Chicago.
Holy shit! Yeah, no, I think they maybe should
And they
stop Bedard.
and they didn't want to win that game against Chicago.
No.
Remember we were talking about that too? They're like, who's going to out-lose the other one?
Oh, everyone should be like, oh, I forgot my sticks.
By the way,
I can't believe it.
That
forgot my
month,
sticks.
the Ducks beat them twice that month.
could those games be the games that lost them Connor Bedard?
No, because the Ducks finished last. But they wanted to finish second last, I guess, for the lottery balls.
But if Chicago wins and gets those points, does it lower their percentage of getting Bedard in the thing? Because
No, you got to think about like who was in the third last slot, which was Chicago.
Yeah.
And the reason they were in the third last slot is they should have been in the last slot, but they beat Pittsburgh.
But
That game changed the
thing.
face
No,
of
the
league.
thing about the Pittsburgh victory
that's a crazy game. We're gonna have to do a video on that.
Yeah,
you could pick any game.
No, that one.
You can pick because you can pick any game on the schedule. You can pick a game in
You
March.
could. I shan't.
No,
You can pick,
Jesse,
no.
I think you're wrong on that
No,
one. I actually think that game had a lot more consequence than you're giving it credit for.
Vegas beat Anaheim 7-2 on February 12th, 2023. If Anaheim had won that, man.
Are you saying the Panthers are as bad as the Ducks?
What?
Well, they lost 7-2. It's the same.
Same thing.
It's the same.
Same thing.
Regular season game in February.
You know, the
Stanley Cup final in
Blackhawks
June.
played games after the Pittsburgh one.
Yeah, one.
You know, other games. A victory in October counts as much as a victory
Jesse,
in March.
No,
I'm sorry that I have the right mentality.
gaslighting, and that's bullshit.
I'm sorry I have the right
And you
mentality
know
about
that
this.
you know that there's more at stake later on in the season because
There
things
is a-
have played out. And I'm telling you,
A win is a win. There's 82 games, man.
this is trash.
You come up.
This is a trash.
You
take.
get out there. You get out on the ice.
Yeah, he deserves.
I think we should kick it
He should
down.
have his underwear pulled up over his head. for
1
sure.
through 82 all
Swirlies.
matter.
I'm gonna give you swirlies, man. Your head's
Yeah.
going in the toilet.
This is why you guys can never win.
Oh wow!
This is
Why we can't win? So Leaf fans, LOL.
This is why you can't win. Every game matters. There's 82 of them.
That's right.
I gotta put dog poop in your shoes.
I'm gonna.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm gonna do.
A
Yeah.
victory in October means as much as a victory in April. Write it on the board.
Put that on the world's worst calendar, you bum. Boo.
That might be the worst take of 2023 so far. Might be. It's not.
and,
Don't-
and
don't-
the series doesn't start till you lose one at home.
Compliment section. Do not let Jesse Blake away with that take. That take is brutal.
I'm sorry. I just believe all games matter.
Stop it. Oh my God.
I need a t-shirt that says all games matter.
No.
Proud of that one.
No, we don't.
Coming to the SDPN shop, sdpnshop.ca. All games matter.
Can we get a red hat that says make the regular season great again? Marga.
Oh, boo. Shut up. Just go home. How dare you? Oh, boo.
What's the Twitter clone app that all the people went to? Mastodon?
Yeah.
We should sign up for Mastodon.
Yeah.
Let people know that all games matter.
Truth Social.
No,
Is that a new one?
Yeah, Truth Social is the Trump one. Parler is the concern.
Oh, Parler's.
Mastodon's where all the people who threatened to leave Twitter and didn't threatened to go.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking
Mastodon's
of Parler.
really fucking confusing. I downloaded it and I looked at it. I'm like, no, man, I'll just stay on Twitter and sort of hate it like I always have.
What's the French
By the way,
parlor?
Twitter was never good. It wasn't good before either.
No.
Adam, what's the French parlor?
French parlor?
Is a bit's coming.
I don't know.
Parlay.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah.
Ew.
It means talk.
Ew. Shut up. If you're watching this episode before Thursday, then you still have your time to get some questions in for the Nailing the Apex podcast with Gunther Steiner, team principal of Haas F1. Probably one of the 4 or 5 most recognizable faces and names and voices in the sport of Formula One. Now, Steve,
Yes.
you don't know anything about Gunther Steiner.
I know he's Italian.
That's right.
Hey.
Northern Italian.
That's right.
Lives in North Carolina, has a ranch called the Steiner Ranch, believe it or not.
He just loves the North.
But you have to watch Drive to Survive this summer. If you don't watch it on your own, Jesse and I are coming over to make you watch this.
Yeah. Well, hold your eyes open.
Yeah. Haas F1 team is the only American-owned team in Formula One. And it's one of the fun teams. It's one of the teams that you sort of root for because of the underdog, and they're going up against the Ferraris and the Mercedes and Alfa Romeo and all the other ones.
You have eyes on.
Ferrari.
I didn't know you were.
Listen, all I want to say is you got to get your questions into Tim for the Gunther Steiner interview he's going to be on. And by the way, that interview will be published when?
If you are listening to this right now after Friday at 9 a.m., then you can just watch the interview or listen to it if you search up Nailing the Apex on your favorite podcast feed, or if you go to youtube.com/sdpn and you look at the Nailing the Apex pods, it'll be right there. Gunther Steiner, Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time.
Out of 10, how excited are you for this interview?
Oh my gosh, 10 out of 10.
Okay. This is very exciting. Go, Tim. Go Nailing the Apex. And make sure to tweet at Tim Hauraney your questions if you catch it before then. So we've been talking about the 4th annual Lauren Wright Co-Ed Slow Pitch Tournament. It's happening in Durham in support of the Kids Help Phone and Bereaved Families of Ontario Durham chapter. It's in memory of a friend, a sister, a daughter, Lauren Wright, who was lost to suicide May 28th, 2014 at the age of 18. We still have room for a few more teams. So if you would like to, registration is $400 a team. It includes lunch and a hamburger or a hot dog for all 12 players. And of course, we are a proud diamond sponsor of the event. If you've got a company and you'd like to sponsor this event, $250 is the fee. And you'll be displayed on the banner. If you would like to be a part of this, write to Greg Wright, WRIGHT. So it's Wright to Greg, WRIGHT, 2 as in the number, and Greg at Rogers.com, or Lisa Walker, Wright, WRIGHT, 2 as in the number, Lisa at Hotmail.com for information. You can also find out more information by contacting them on social media, Facebook specifically, Lauren Wright Memorial Co-Ed Slow Pitch Tournament. Look it up, and we are a proud sponsor of it. 4th annual Lauren Wright Co-Ed Slow Pitch Tournament. Hey, so something pretty big happened in Toronto yesterday, and it's interesting that it happened here because this thing is an international, number one news story. And it has to do with sports. But because the RBC Canadian Open is happening this weekend in Toronto, when it was announced yesterday that the PGA, the DP, and LIV Golf were amalgamating and going into one.
That happened in Toronto?
They met in Toronto to let the PGA guys know. So Rory McIlroy and who else would have been whoever spoke out against it. All of them were in the room when Jay Monahan has to walk in, and after spending the last 2.5-3 years demonizing LIV Golf for being Saudi backed and it's owned by a Saudi fund, is announced that now the PGA Tour and the DP Tour are also owned by the Saudis, at least partially. It's an absolute bombshell. And you got to think about this in the context of what this means to the players. These guys that stuck around on the PGA Tour, when they sign up and you get your PGA card, one of the things that come with that is, okay, well, you get the access to these crazy purses of money that you can win with, but the PGA purses hadn't really gone up the way they should have. The PGA Tour was keeping more of the money than they should have been, and that's the reason that LIV was basically able to pull people away. So going back, where you used to make like $1 million for a tournament win, once LIV showed up, the PGA had to up its purses, and the players went to the PGA and said, "Listen, you got to offer more money, otherwise we're going to lose everybody." Because the types of money that LIV Golf was throwing around were crazy. Guy like Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, they all got in the hundreds of millions of dollars, like over 100 million. Rory McIlroy, who is the biggest name in golf besides Tiger Woods, at least still on the PGA, was offered 300 million. Tiger Woods was offered 800 million. And for those players that said yes, they get that money. And as of 2024, they will be allowed to reapply for their PGA Tour card and play on the PGA again. And for those that didn't, well, now you have an influx of guys from the other tour. There's a limited amount of spaces on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
So not only did you not take the money,
it's going to be harder to win money.
And the PGA, to compete with LIV Golf this year, actually announced a whole set of changes that Rory McIlroy spearheaded to make the money bigger, to make sure that the stars were actually showing up to the events. Because that was the thing with the RBC Canadian Open. It was always like, nobody fucking came because there were major tournaments in June that the people were preparing for. And so what the PGA Tour said was like, listen, we can do this, but we need the stars to show up together at more tournaments. And there's tournaments like every fucking weekend too. And that was part of the allure of LIV, was you get to make all this money and there's like way less, so you can spend time with your family, or your body can get healthy, or whatever else. Now, it's a fascinating thing to happen. And of course, they meet in a convention center in Toronto. And apparently what happened is Jay Monahan comes out. All the players already know what's going on, and they found out on Twitter. So he brings them all in. And there were several players that stood up openly asking for the CEO of the PGA Tour's resignation, and got rousing rounds of applause from the other golfers.
Damn.
And it's just, so to me, Rory McIlroy had to come out today in front of the media in Toronto, or just outside of, and say, listen, because he said he was the sacrificial lamb. Yep. He was the guy the PGA said, Rory, we need you to be a leader. We need you to talk about why morally you should be staying with the PGA. You need to stay with the PGA because that money, that there's obviously a lot of issues with a Saudi-backed league. We want to highlight those issues. We want to sort of demonize the players that are taking the money, including Phil Mickelson and Bryson DeChambeau and Dustin Johnson and Brooks Koepka. And we want to make sure that fans stay with it. Now, LIV Golf had trouble because of this, finding broadcast partners and finding places to play golf. There are a lot of courses said, no way, we're not going to let you in here. And so for this to happen, it does bring the sport of golf back together, all the best players in the world. But it also is a huge win for LIV. And Rory McIlroy, the Saudi government. And Rory McIlroy, rightly so, sort of feels like, you guys just told me that you were going to do all these things and then you go and do that. And here's the other thing about owning a PGA card that I think might go away. Every bit of endorsement money that you make, not just during your playing career, but after, 10% of it goes to the PGA forever. So when Tiger Woods retires and he's still doing Buick ads, if those rules remain in place, 10% of all the money that Buick pays Tiger, he owes to the PGA.
That seems insane.
Well, that's a lot of the reason why a lot of those golfers left. And I wonder if that rule goes away, because that was a big sticking point for people.
It's so complicated, and it's probably one of the biggest sports stories of our lifetime, just because of the parties involved. Like, we have a foreign government trying to wash through a giant American entity. And it starts with the players you feel the worst for. A guy like Hideki Matsuyama, who was offered hundreds of millions of dollars to join LIV and turned it down because of the PGA Tour and the belief that he was doing what was right. And a person like Matsuyama will never make that money on the PGA Tour.
No.
He lost hundreds of $millions because of the ideology that the PGA Tour preached to him, and they told them that they would never agree to anything like this with the Saudi government. And then the guys, Jay Monahan and the guys up top, this was a very secret deal. Nobody knew it was happening. There was only about 3 to 4 players involved in speaking with the Saudi officials and making all these deals. And they go behind his back and they do the exact thing that they told them not to do. Mm-hmm. They say, hey, don't take that money, stick around here. That's immoral. But when the money's offered to them, it's no longer immoral. And they haven't answered for that yet. We haven't heard from the PGA Tour on why is it now okay to accept the money from the Saudi government when it wasn't okay for your members to do that? And why was it okay for a guy like Matsuyama to never get these hundreds of millions of dollars, but it's okay for you to accept billions from them?
Damn.
It's a crazy story. It's crazy.
Can you guys help me with this? So
Never.
I didn't. Thank you.
Not helping
Adam.
with shit.
I was busy preparing for today.
Let's help you with this confetti cannon.
There will be no confetti. There's still fucking confetti all over the floor.
I thought about doing that.
I know.
But no, okay. So, sorry. Very abrupt turn here. But I was reading some of the reaction, and I just felt way out of my depth. But Jay Monahan, this is a tweet from someone named Stephen Geiger. Jay Monahan, commissioner of the PGA Tour, and it's an old clip of him using 9/11 to shame players last year for taking life-changing money from LIV. Now he has no problem with the money and merges LIV Golf with the PGA.
Right. So in that tweet, that's from a CBS broadcast where Monahan was speaking with, I forget the commentator who's talking to him, but they talk about how in the New York Times, there was an open letter from people who were affected by 9/11.
Families of
people affected by 9/11 who wrote an open letter to the PGA Tour about not doing business with the Saudi government because of their involvement in 9/11. And he spoke to that and said that, hey, we're not going to be doing this with the Saudi government. We're actually going to be fighting them. They had lawsuits going on, and then now people are bringing up that interview, and that's something that he hasn't addressed publicly.
So it's not just like I've seen people talk about the, doing what's right versus screw it, just take the money. They're the ones who got up on the pedestal and said, this is wrong.
Yes.
It's wrong to partner with these guys.
Yes.
And now they're doing it anyway. Mm-hmm. This is not going to be the last. One victory emboldens the next. And, a lot of things with me come back to wrestling, but the WWE's partnership, like they go to Saudi Arabia all the time now. Mm-hmm. I thought it was like a once a year thing. It's all the time. Now it's the golf. What's next?
I have one. I have the answer for you.
Oh, go ahead.
I already know what the answer is. It's Formula One.
Mm-hmm. They're already doing deep business with F1.
Yeah, but they tried to overvalue Liberty Media, which owns the Atlanta Braves and owns Formula One. Liberty Media is crazy. They tried to overvalue what Formula One is worth. Liberty Media has it at about $20 billion. I think the Saudis came in and offered $23 billion just last year and said, we're going to buy it. And the reason that Liberty Media, if a company's willing to offer that much more, it's like Elon buying Twitter. Twitter was worth 20-something billion. Elon paid 40-something billion. And it almost forces the board to say yes to the deal because the money is so goofy that you're not doing right by your shareholders and by not accepting the deal. Even though Twitter is still worth $20 billion and Elon Musk lost $20 billion on it, if Jack and his people that started Twitter hadn't accepted that deal, they would be business-wise not doing their fiduciary duty by accepting that money. And I think that's probably what happened here with the PGA. And I think we already know that this same fund tried to buy Formula One last year from at a completely overvalued rate because they don't care. They have so much money. It's crazy.
When you say buy Formula One, all of it?
All of it. Now, the teams it's like the NHL. The NHL is an entity that you can purchase if you have the money. but you don't necessarily own the franchises within it. The franchises are linked to it. They are owned separately, but they are a part of the organization.
Liberty Media owns F1.
Yeah.
Like there is a corporation right now that owns F1, but all the teams are independent.
And remember, the NHL is a corporation. It was a not-for-profit for a bit, like the NFL was.
The NFL is still a non-for-profit, and PGA Tour in these guidelines that they've outlined with their deal with the Saudis, they're still going to maintain the entity of the PGA Tour as a not-for-profit. But they have started.
So it's a not-for-profit. They're going to get the tax concession.
But they have started a new corporation in conjunction with the Saudis that is a for-profit business.
The American government's not going to have that. They're not going to have that.
It's a private corporation. I don't know, but there's so many layers to this because the PGA Tour was bleeding money with the antitrust lawsuit that they filed against LIV, or LIV filed against the PGA Tour, and then the PGA Tour filed a countersuit. So they were, I don't know the financials of the PGA Tour, but there was in their side of the things losing a lot of money just trying to fight away LIV. And there came a point where they had to say, we're going to back out of our lawsuits and we're going to take their money and just merge forces.
Imagine having so much money you can bleed the PGA dry.
Mm-hmm. Well, and this is why I think Formula One has got to watch out because it's only recently that all the teams became profitable. It used to be a billionaire play toy where you'd have 4 or 5 teams that were owned by billionaires, so like Minardi and Williams and some of the other ones, and then other teams that were corporate backs, so Mercedes, Ferrari, Mercedes more recently, but Ferrari, Lotus, some of these other brands that actually were in there, made engines, had been around for a long time. McLaren actually started out as an independent team, Bruce McLaren from New Zealand, but now as a corporate team because they have a car brand for road cars. All that to say is that all the Saudis have to do is start another racing league that is more competitive than Formula One, and pull some of the drivers, the big personalities. Like look at a guy like Daniel Ricciardo, who is the star, the absolute star of that Netflix series, and was a star before that. He was one of the most noticeable names in F1 because of his personality. If you pay that guy enough money to come over, and you get a whole bunch of these other guys that are just outside of Formula One, but have to go through these stupid, if I got into, and I won't, the requirements it takes to get a super license and race F1. Guys that are in IndyCar who are good enough to race F1 still can't get their fucking super license because it's bullshit. All the Saudis have to do is go, okay, well, we're going to start our own. You don't need a super license. Just be good. Mm-hmm. Just be really good.
It's scary because you worry if the Saudis or other entities like them have found a formula to sports wash across the world. So I think an even more direct example of what they did in golf is if they wanted to just look at tennis and do the exact same thing. Because in tennis, it is a bunch of just independent individuals who do not have a direct contract with the ATP tour that's on the men's side or the WTA on the women's side. Like, say, Austin Matthews has a contract with the Toronto Maple Leafs. He has to play here. They don't have a contract that says Bianca Andreescu doesn't have a contract that says I have to play here for 3 years on the WTA.
Right.
No, exactly.
Somebody can come in and say, hey, Bianca, I'm going to give you $500 million. Just play tennis tournaments around the world for us.
And
they can do that. And
how do you say no to that?
Exactly.
How do you say no
if you
to
watch
$100 million?
What happens with all of these golfers who turn that down, and then now the money just went to the guys who own the PGA Tour, you say, how do I say money and say no to the next time when the guys above me are going to say yes?
Yeah, they there are going to be athletes who are going to be like, why stand on a soapbox? They're just going to break them anyway.
Why not?
So
Why not take the money?
Holy
and you
shit.
also you don't know.
It's bad.
You don't
Bad.
know people's
Bad.
family situation. You don't know what they're living. You don't know if they desperately need this money. And I don't know if you can criticize people for taking the money or turning it down or not having the moral high ground to do it. It's so complicated.
It's like criticizing people who drive cars for climate change when we know that like 90% of it comes from corporations that have nothing to do with cars. That's the thing, is that like the real problem here is
So I am out of my friggin'
no,
depth.
but the real problem is that the PGA took a moral stance
Yep.
and then did the exact thing it told all of its golfers not to do.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Yes.
And the problem before that was there was an enormous amount of money concentrated by this Saudi public fund. I forget the real name of it. And the Saudi public something fund. And they came in and started a competitive league. And that's the real. So the people that took the money, I mean, you can hate them. That's up to you. To me, it has more to do with things that are much bigger than that. That's my point. It's much bigger than these players taking this money. And what sucks is for those guys, like, now they're fucked.
That
Now
money's
they're
not coming back around.
No, and they'll never see another league like that. Who else has the money to start a competitive league with them? Nobody. It's fucking crazy. It's crazy.
Cool and fun way to go.
Yeah.
into
Sorry, Jesse, what did you have
I
there?
was just going to say Public Investment Fund is what they call it. The
Saudi Public Investment.
Yeah, the Saudi Public Investment Fund is the actual corporation. But I don't know. I hope it's not a formula to recreate these things when somebody wants to gain control. You know, you start your own league on the side, you buy a bunch of players, and then the other league is just, their hand is forced and they have to merge. We saw it with there's some people were drawing conclusions to the ABA way back when, the other basketball league that had started. And the ABA's whole role when they started was to kind of merge with the NBA, and it worked.
Yeah.
You know, there was precedence for this. So, but it wasn't like the ABA was run by people who there's like direct examples of moral issues with the way they're doing things over there.
No, they were a North American business in the 70s. Yeah. They were as immoral as any other, like listen, business at that level in sports especially, immoral.
Yeah.
Stop expecting it to be moral. It never will be. It's gross. All of it's gross. It's dirty money. Just, gonna have to accept that. But the WHA in the 70s, right, was a league that popped up and stole a bunch of players. It's literally the same thing that LIV did. Stole a bunch of players from the NHL, including, Frank Mahovlich and Bobby Hall and some amazing star talent. Some of the guys that played in the WHA were the first Europeans to play in North America as well.
That was weird for me because I was always taught Wayne Gretzky was the first player to play for $1 million.
No,
he wasn't.
Well,
Bobby Hall.
He might have been the first player to play for $1 million per year because BobbyAll's deal was 5 years for $1 million, $200,000 a year with the Winnipeg Jets.
Oh, well, then maybe it was.
Remember, the Winnipeg Jets were a big money franchise in the 70s. Big
I can't
money
remember
franchise.
that. I wasn't alive.
So I think when you look at something like that, I mean, you could do this with any of the sports. You could do this with the NHL. You could do this with the NBA. It'd be hard. I think they struck at a time where the PGA and its golfers were at odds, and they timed it correctly.
The thing about the PGA Tour that I liken it to tennis as well is that you can just buy the players right now.
Yes.
With the other leagues, they have contracts. You have to wait for everybody to be a free agent and then be willing to leave their sports. With these sports where you have solo athletes, you can just go take them and build your own thing, and that's scary.
Trying to think of other potential examples. That's friggin' wild. Holy shit.
It's a crazy story.
I didn't realize how deep it was.
Oh, I've been following for the last year. Just like, it's also, I don't know if you've seen, and something this summer you should check out is Full Swing. That's the Netflix series that's kind of like Drive to Survive. It's about the golf, like professional golfing. And it's about...
When the cameras were in Toronto, I saw that.
They were in Toronto filming this for Full Swing Season 2. So...
I'm going to be at the Canadian Open on Saturday. I hope I get in full swing. I'm going to do something I'm going to do something really outlandish.
You gonna wear a banana?
What's the plan? To be 6'5"?
Yeah, imagine.
Got it covered.
How did he do it? And it's like Jesse and a bunch of heads. Another crazy story that happened today.
Here, wait. I'm just here at the event. Here, there.
Another crazy...
Oh, that didn't hit at all because it was on the main cam. It's just me standing up like an asshole. Here, there.
Adam, Steve's doing a bit.
Trying to do a bit. Fucking failed. Anyway, it's my fault.
Okay, so all right, so here are the contract details for Lionel Messi.
Okay. How many years?
You know Leo's named after Messi?
It's true. His full name is Lionel.
Okay, I'm just looking it up here.
What? Did you find it?
I had it,
time
and
for
then
you.
the person fucking deleted the tweet.
One thing,
Dumbass.
can I start talking about the contract?
Please.
One thing that's crazy about the contract that is not confirmed, that is still in negotiation, is giving Messi a portion of subscriber signups to Apple TV.
Yes, that is part of it.
What?
I
That's
think,
the part that I wanted to highlight.
oh, that's the part you want to
Yeah,
highlight?
that's
'Cause
great.
I thought it wasn't confirmed yet that he would get the portion. Like, they don't know what he would actually get out of it, but
That's like giving Matthews or McDavid, like, oh, we're going to give you a portion of Rogers' subscription.
Sportsnet now would be
Sportsnet
the
now.
equivalent. You know?
There,
Wow.
there were also rumors that he might get an ownership stake in Inter Miami, which would be, they were saying something in the neighborhood of 35%.
Oh, we should top line it. Lionel Messi is going to play for Inter Miami of the MLS.
That's right.
Yeah.
He turned down a contract. This is how not messing around Saudi Arabia is. Benzema just signed in Saudi Arabia, is going to get $643 million over the next 3 years to play there. I believe
What would you buy with, sorry.
Cristiano Ronaldo is, I think they're on at least $200 million a year contract. Messi offered a contract over $1 billion. And I would imagine that it was probably over that's over a couple years, but it would have eclipsed anybody else's deal.
You think?
And, you know, this is a guy that for many people is the greatest player of all time. And, you know, I think that what the MLS is doing is freaking crazy and exactly what the NHL needs to be doing, but the NHL is non-competitive. I think what the MLS is jockeying for the third biggest sport in North America right now, with designs on being eventually the top sport in North America. And why wouldn't you want to be? There's a lot of money in North America. You know, you're going to have your work cut out with you with the NBA and the NFL. But when you bought a franchise, what they call a franchise tag, right? So when Vegas came into the NHL, it's $500 million. When Seattle came into the NHL is $750 million. There was an article in The Athletic a couple days ago about why Atlanta probably will work the third time around. Guys, there's a team going back to Atlanta. Of course there is. It's a top 10 city in the United States. They're going to have better ownership. The league is far better run right now, and it's going to be $1 billion.
The team won't be dog shit forever.
Yeah, we're going to have a 34-team league in no time here. And those franchise tags are going to be $1 billion. And guess what? None of that money goes to the players. All of it goes to the other owners. So the other owners are absolutely for this. Just throwing that out there. Now, when you agreed to expansion in the MLS when, say, TFC did, the franchise tag value for TFC when it came into the MLS, and they were bad for 10 years, but the franchise tag, the value of it was $10 million.
What?
So Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment paid $10 million for a franchise in the MLS. Now, a lot of MLS franchises, including the New York one, like there's two in New York, Red Bull and I think it's FC New York or something. And then, you know, like a team like TFC, they're hovering around what the Ottawa Senators are worth. Somewhere between 800 and $1 billion, depending on the city.
Wow.
What a crazy amount of, what a great investment, right? Yeah. And with this Apple TV contract, you know, first off, the league needs a guy like Messi to drive subscriptions for that.
Yeah.
They need it. They need to have that happen because Apple needs it and the MLS needs it. They need people on Apple TV watching this product.
So can I read the... so from The Athletic, this is where the Apple TV reports come from with Messi's contract. Multiple sources involved in or briefed on the high-level league discussion said earlier this week that MLS and Apple have discussed offering Messi a share of the revenue generated by new subscribers to MLS Season Pass, the league's streaming service on Apple TV. Both sides view Messi's potential involvement in Major League Soccer as a boon. Apple and MLS signed a 10-year, $2.5 billion agreement this spring. They also have a docuseries coming with Messi. So that's the Apple portion of the deal. But it doesn't stop there because Adidas, who is MLS's official jersey sponsor, also got in on the, hey, let's do everything to try and bring Messi to MLS. Mm-hmm. Adidas, which is among MLS's largest corporate sponsors, has prepared its own potential arrangement to entice Messi to the United States. Multiple sources briefed on those plans told The Athletic on Tuesday, Messi is being offered a profit-sharing agreement with the sportswear giant, those sources said, which would involve the player receiving a cut of any increase in Adidas's profits resulting from his involvement in MLS. Adidas is going to give some of its money to Messi. You know how much money Adidas makes?
It's a lot. I've heard
lot.
of them.
Holy crap.
I have heard of that brand.
Wow.
Have you?
Yeah.
Heard of Adidas?
I think it was my mom. She bought like a jacket.
Adidas.
Adidas.
All the girlies are wearing the Sambas these days.
Are you wearing Sambas?
You got Sambas?
I have Sambas.
Not now because we have our slippers.
Yeah.
I wore them to work today.
They're downstairs? Yeah, your Sambas? Yeah.
I've been wearing Sambas. I have Sambas at home.
Yeah, they're taking off.
I love them.
You're keeping up with the trends, Adam Wild?
Well, you know me. I'm trendy Adam Wild is what they call me.
Is what they call
actually.
I don't know what
Trendy
those
guy.
are,
I'm
and
a
I'm
trendy
afraid to
guy.
ask.
It's crazy. And so when people talk about I think players make enough money in the NHL. I think you need to open your eyes. The NHL players are getting right fucked.
Holy crap.
Like,
In comparison.
Point. And I wish the NHLPA would look at that and go, you know, I feel like there's something amiss here.
What is the actual value of Connor McDavid?
Oh,
my
man.
God.
It's not $12.5 million a year. That's for damn sure.
I think it's reasonable to say he should be making at least twice.
It has to be 20 to 25.
Yeah.
You got mid-level stars.
Dom has something on that, doesn't he?
I don't know.
He
The
does.
Athletic? He's got those cards.
I think that's based on the salary cap, though. It's
Yeah.
not based on market value.
Like market value. Yeah.
Because like you got mid-level stars in the NBA, like they hand out $50 million contracts like they're candy.
I honestly, too, you're right, Jesse. I would love to know what Connor McDavid's franchise value would be if they actually marketed him. You know? Like, he markets himself. He gets on and he does his endorsements and that sort of thing. But if the league actually spent money promoting their own players.
So I had a take that we haven't had a chance to do on the show.
Give me the take.
Well, People Magazine put it out there that Matthew Tkachuk, you know, they called him the face of the league. And the NHL is such a non-factor.
Okay.
That, like, just a non-factor in culture. That when Matthew Tkachuk was featured in People Magazine, what was our reaction?
Hey, shit. That's so cool. Good for him.
Woo!
Yeah.
Isn't that neat? Like, it's such a pick-me league. Like, just, oh my goodness.
By the way, I tweeted about that and I said people are worried about the ratings and Matthew Tkachuk's in fucking People Magazine. By the way, the ratings for the first two games are in, and it's the highest rated Stanley Cup final in 15 years.
In the States.
In the States.
Yes.
I'm curious what it is here.
Well, they're not publicizing it, so I don't know if it's that good. Usually when the ratings are good, they publicize them.
You get the Sportsnet PR tweet.
Yeah. Oh, last night this many people watched the Jays game and it was a record. That's usually what they do. So I don't know if it's as good as you would perhaps hope, but America is the market that the NHL wants to win.
So, and here's the thing, and I think Oilers fans are going to get upset about this, but please, like...
No, get upset.
No, I agree.
No, get angry at Steve.
This is coming from a Leafs fan. Connor McDavid's the best player in the world. Okay, so there's my peace offering. But calling Matthew Tkachuk the face of the league is, a little recency bias, right?
Very.
Also, proof of what a non-entity Connor McDavid is when he's not on the ice. If he's not on the ice doing his zoomies, he just does not register. He doesn't register. He's in a couple commercials.
And what would you qualify
That's
as registering?
Having anyone give a fuck about?
It's such a great point.
Like,
He's not like an electric, charismatic personality.
no, like LeBron James is, I mean, maybe that's not fair. You know, one of the, or shouldn't it be fair? McDavid he's the best player in the NHL, and there's no denying, there's no debate. He's the best player in the NHL. LeBron, for a long time, was the best player in the NBA.
So I think what you're pointing out here
Yeah.
potentially is the difference between the greatest player in the game, whatever game it is, and star quality.
Star quality.
Gretzky had, Lemieux had, they had star quality. They were stars. Gretzky was a star in the 80s, an actual real star.
And
movie star.
This isn't a new problem for the NHL because they tried to program Crosby bot and he did his best. Like, they groomed him to be the face of the NHL from like the time he was 14. And he was cordial and made his appearances and stuff like that. He still wasn't exactly electric. And this isn't to say like McDavid's a bad guy or Crosby's a bad guy. It's not about that. It's just they're not bombastic. They're not magnetic.
And Matthew Tkachuk is.
Matthew Tkachuk is.
He's a star.
And
There's a difference, right? He might not be the best player in the game, but he is a star.
He has not had to do a whole hell of a lot to be this.
Well, like PK, star quality. That guy he's an electric personality.
And he stands out so much more because this league just has none. It's got none.
I don't think that that's true. I think that's unfair.
It's got less.
I think that I think you're on to something there. I think if we were going to further qualify that, I think it has it, but doesn't promote it. To say that there's 700 people and you can't find 20 of them that are real marketable personalities, well, that would be shocking. That's a crazy assertion to make. But if the NHL does not promote, push, spend money marketing these people and getting them into people's homes and making them excited about finding out what that player is going to do, then it's really difficult. Like the NHL is focused on the crest. Well, the crest doesn't mean shit if there's no a personality associated with it. Like Nike, when they started, they would hire Olympic athletes to wear their fucking shoes and go up against Puma and Adidas at the Olympics in the 70s. Why? Because their brand, that swoosh, as nice as it is and as high quality as that shoe was, doesn't mean shit if you don't have personality behind it.
Right.
And that's why the Florida Panthers all of a sudden are one of the better brands in the NHL. Look at what the playoffs did.
One thing that I'll cut Connor McDavid and some of the other stars slack for is that winning is also a part of this. Because it's so easy to market somebody and to make that guy your face of the league if they're also the champion. Because then you're watching them throughout the playoffs and they raise the Stanley Cup, and then that's how the real stars are born. Like the reason we care about MJ is because of the championships. LeBron James gets into that upper echelon when he goes to Miami and he wins those couple chips first. And he gets even further in when he defeats Golden State. You know, you also need, you know how hollow that People magazine piece is going to ring if they go on to get swept?
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? Face of the league? Whatever.
Well, it's just going to make the league look worse.
Yeah. If Connor McDavid had 2 Stanley Cups under his belt right now, it'd be easier to say, oh yeah, that dude's marketable, that dude's a star, because then America had watched him for 4 rounds of hockey. America had watched him raise the Stanley Cup, and it would make more sense.
I feel like
he
that's
also
a little
needs
hindsight.
he also needs to win.
He needs to win, but Michael Jordan and LeBron James were both
they were the most
stars
talked about
that they
athlete
are.
before that.
Yeah, before they ever won a championship, they were the most talked about athlete.
LeBron was. I wouldn't say Michael so much.
Michael absolutely was. That's why Nike was dying to get him out of college. And then that first couple of years, first off, the NBA was really in a bad spot in the 80s. And this is why it gives me hope. If you go back and really look at your sports history, it gives me hope for the NHL because at its core, hockey's a fucking great game. And the NBA knew we got a fucking great game here. Basketball's a great sport.
The off-ice the off-ice entertainment value does not match the on-ice entertainment value.
Yes.
On ice is wild.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agreed. The NBA in the mid 80s couldn't sell out arenas.
Yeah, and like I credit that stuff to like Bird and Magic. You know, like they're in there, and like
agreed.
Jordan didn't go first overall.
No,
Like
4th, right?
third.
Wow.
Yeah. The pick, because Hakeem Olajuwon went first, and that's the
right.
obvious one. Then the second pick is the one you yell into your pillow about every night, and then Jordan goes third, and like he didn't become Michael Jordan until he plays a couple of years in the league, but he's not what he is today without 6-0 in the finals. And I think we got a little bit of this onus is on McDavid, is that you need to win something as well.
It's there.
It's a part. I think it's a part of the narrative.
Yeah. The chasm between Connor McDavid and Matthew Tkachuk as players,
Yes.
that's what made me react. Like, because we know, I mean, Tkachuk is nominated for the Hart. He's one of the best players in the league. But what fills the gap between him and McDavid and takes him over the top is he's got a personality where people are like, hey, that's pretty neat.
I'm going to interview you for People Magazine.
McDavid's gone.
And you know what?
And it's okay.
There's nothing wrong. Kawhi Leonard is gone too, but you do need to have some guys who are stars, right?
He can never be the face of the league.
No, Kawhi's just not cut out for that. That's not his thing. But like, he was a great player. But the thing the NBA had was a ton of guys who could be.
Yes.
The Kawhi Leonard experience in Toronto is one of my favorite cultural phenomenons. Like, it made 1,000 times better by the fact that he won. And he had some incredible on-court moments, but it was like the personality Toronto gave him. Like,
Yeah.
you don't memes.
You won't tell us who we are, so we're going to create it.
Yeah. Like, okay, it starts with the laugh. All right, we're going to overuse that for the next friggin' 9 months or whatever. And I'm going to Toronto for game 3 and just all the Kawhi bot stuff that they made about him being
Fun guy.
a Terminator and fun guy. And the rest of the team had a ton of personality around him too.
The Apple story.
What was the Apple story? I don't remember that. What was the Apple story?
Oh, so someone posted a Kawhi Leonard story that was not
It
true,
didn't end up being true.
but
It
it
took
was
off.
believable.
Oh, no.
There was like they went to a team restaurant and he pulled out a bag of apples and he started cutting them with a fork and knife. And his coach went like, Kawhi, what are you doing? And he's like, apple time, apple time. And then
that's
he just
like
started eating the apples.
That's like the fake Nola Chari story about cookies. And cookie time,
cookie
right?
time, cookie time. No, the cookie
that what
time
that's
was
based on?
That's
based on,
based
apple
on
time,
the
apple.
Kawhi Apple
That is
story.
funny. I'd
Yeah.
never seen that.
We talked about it, you just forgot it.
I forgot it.
Yeah.
I'm almost positive I brought the apple time story to you guys.
Yeah.
And was like, have you seen this? And you're like, Steve.
No, we had talked
Kawhi
about
Leonard
it.
did not bring a bag of apples to a restaurant and eat it with a knife and fork. But we all believed it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Because it was like,
It's Kawhi.
Oilers fans need to look at how to bring the Kawhi meme energy to McDavid.
But it's so
Just a
funny
player who gives you nothing.
that
nothing off the court.
you brought up Kawhi as an example of he can never be the face of the league because there's no personality there.
Yeah.
But we generated so much personality out of this guy.
It's
Yes.
true.
Yep.
So I
Part
don't
of that
know.
was how bombastic the Raptors were around him. Like, even it made him seem even more dull, but the whole time he was the best player. So he just seemed like this basketball playing friggin' Terminator.
Yeah.
Like around,
Which he essentially is. It
around
was.
this group of whimsical children
Yeah.
going, hooray, we won the basketball game. And he's just like, on to the next.
Yeah.
Like, didn't care. And then he just left.
And-
He went to a parade
and
just
things
left.
have been not great in LA.
No, of course not. 'Cause
Apparently, he's taken that to the nth degree, where he's not telling them about his injuries, and he does what he wants, and nobody can really tell him anything. So
Well-
it hasn't been great.
Well, they wanted.
I'm a Raptors fan, and I'm just gonna plug my ears.
Well, to stay in
and pretend-
Toronto, he was pushing them to trade Kyle Lowry for Paul George, and that would have been unforgivable. Yeah. And the
they-
Raptors weren't going to do it, but they said, he was like, well, that's one of the conditions of signing. They're like, we're not.
the Clippers went out and they traded for Paul George so that they could sign Kawhi, which is the right thing to do if you're the Clippers.
You're
But
trying to make things happen.
yeah, but then you trade Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, who's one of the best players, young players in the league right
They
now.
traded him?
Yeah, he was in the Paul
know
George
that.
deal. Yeah, he's a young, great Canadian basketball player.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Wow. I want to throw this out there. We said that Vladislav Gavrikov was not a $6 million defenseman, or I did. Turns out I was right. He's a $5.875 million defenseman.
There it is.
He signed with LA over the last 20 minutes. 2 years, $5.875 million per season. Dan Milstein, his agent, with that weird hashtag "We Are Gold Star." Don't understand
Hey.
that one.
Who reported that number?
I don't know. CJ?
TSN's Chris Johnson.
No, SDPN.
SDPN.
CJS.
Hey, did you see we made the tweet about the signing?
Hey,
Did he tag us in
So
that? That was nice.
Chris Johnson, the official insider who reported the deal, and he tagged North Star Bet, TSN Hockey, and his other employer, SDPN Sports. So thank you, CJ.
I just
if you don't like
Us
CJ, I'll
little guys
fucking fight you.
still appreciate those things, even though those big guys over at TSN don't.
listen. There have been a
Yeah.
there have been a few people that have like other outlets that have like quoted CJ from the CJ show and then not even linked to the show, and I'm like, bro, come on.
CJ said,
Like,
I heard him say it on the sidewalk.
yeah, like he didn't tweet it, he didn't write it. Where did you hear it?
Where did he say
Where did you hear it?
Where did he say it?
That drives me
Here.
bonkers.
Said it right here.
I heard him say it on the sidewalk.
I heard him he was walking by and, Vladislav Gavrikov 2 years confirmed? Okay, I need to send a tweet now, and then you just go bleep, 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 bleep. No! He said it on his pod and or cast.
Are we gonna hit 3 hours?
Are we? Where are we at?
We're at like 2:30
Are you
right now.
serious?
Yeah.
We're at 2 hours and 30 minutes?
We're like 2:25.
Get out.
We were on like a normal show trajectory, and then you're like, here's 45 minutes on golf.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
think we
I don't,
should
this
Yeah,
is
okay, I think this is good.
Adams who's got a little bit of sleep in him is trying to push us to 3 hours
Guys,
of podcast.
I feel fucking great. Are you kidding me? This has been like, honestly, Monday I was a little tired. It's going to take me some time to right size my schedule a bit, but like this is the best I have felt in years doing this show. I feel great.
Show's gonna be up a little late. It's gonna
Fuck
take
it.
a little bit longer to render. Today.
All right.
Are you
All right.
excited for all of us to have maximum energy?
Is Jesse excited for all of us to have maximum energy?
Yeah. 3 hour pods. I'm telling you, it's coming
Hey.
soon.
Steve Dangle, Jesse, you can hit the outro.
Oh, thank God.
Steve Dangle, congratulations on a
Thank
great
you.
run with one of the premier networks in Canada. You did a great job, and we're excited for your last few videos with Sportsnet. And a big shout out to Sportsnet because they were amazing to us when we all worked at Rogers, and they're great people. So shout out to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's all.
Thank you.
We're selling to the Saudis.
Full time.
The Steve Dangle Podcast.
Powered by Sports Interaction. Want to bet?
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.